atmosphere right now.
the field, the visiting team, the Broncos. And Valley Huskers fans, find this game a special game. This is our last game of the 2022 season. We're going to be having some graduating players. We're going to give this a special introduction, but please welcome to the mic, Coach Gary.
Football fans of all ages, are you ready for some fast-paced, bone-crushing, hard-hitting Huskers football? Without further ado, let's welcome our graduate players, starting with number 55, Sergeant Secondary School grad, Caleb McPherson! From number 8 wide receiver, Dylan Marlucha. Quarterback number 38, TW Crown Grizzly, Jeffrey Howe.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome these men. And let's get ready for a beautiful game. Children, British Columbia. Thank you very much, Coach Gary. And please welcome to the field for our last game of 2022 regular season football. No one, the only,
Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, and football fans, please rise to your ankle, remove your hats, and please welcome Gillette's very own Sophie Houston, the city of Old Canada.
Regular season game of the BCFC season before the playoffs get underway. Good afternoon. It's Warren Andrews. Great to be with you alongside Matt Macri as the Valley Huskers, 4-0 at home, get set to take on the visiting Kamloops Broncos, who come in. Very good season for them, 4-5, just on the outskirts of the playoffs as the Langley Rams wrapped up a playoff spot, winning against the Prince George Kodiaks last week. Huskers know they're in the playoffs. They know they'll be playing the West Shore Rebels. What they don't know is where the game will be, and this will play a part in determining where that game will be taking place, as the West Shore Rebels scored a touchdown on the very last play last week here at Exhibition Field, and that maintained their lead for second in the BCFC behind the undefeated Okanagan Sun. West Shore takes on the Vancouver Island Raiders today. Raiders have had an abysmal season, winning just once
I could barely
this
hear
year.
it, but I adjusted this and I got it.
And you hear the voice of Matt Macri chatting into the microphone. And hi, everybody. You would think that we've worked the kinks out, but not quite. And for the Valley Huskers, it's a chance to maybe tinker a bit with the roster, Matt, and get themselves playoff ready. They're banged up a bit. We know Dag Mora out. There's other players that will get a bit of playing time, but they'll want to be careful with them as they get set to take on West Shore next week.
Well, I think this is a good game for the Huskers to, like you said, iron out some kinks and give some backup some time. I mean, everybody's banged up. It's the end of the season. We know Dag Mora's out. We've seen some other players over the last couple of weeks take some bumps and bruises, and they're out there playing, but they're not 100. So now you give these guys that have been practicing hard all year long and showing promise a couple of reps, but you still want to win this game. I mean, it's they're 4-0 at home. And before we go any further, Warren, I have to offer a public apology here, especially to the Huskers. On our broadcast last week, I said they lost this year to Langley, and they didn't actually. They won the home game. They won in Langley. I was at both. I don't know why I messed it up, but I was wrong.
I think it was just habit. They'd never beaten the Langley Rams before. You're used to saying that. It's like saying sorry to your spouse. You're just so used to doing it.
Well, I also know that my wife's going to make a audio clip of me admitting that I was wrong there and probably play it to me over and over.
I should mention this is the TELUS Game of the Week you're watching on Channel 1999 if you're watching on your television set. For the rest of you watching coast to coast and around the world, that's on bcfctv.com. This game is sponsored by Zone Garage, Fraser Valley. Find them on Facebook. They can transform any space into something absolutely magical. We're getting set as the Huskers will be in their home blacks with the black pants, the dark forest green helmets, black. Also the gold green trim for the lettering. Some of them wearing pink. Breast cancer, of course, on the forefront of everyone's minds in October. As for the visiting Kamloops Broncos in the white jerseys, navy pants, orange socks, and the navy helmets with that distinctive Broncos logo. Talked to Coach Van Conant, and he said it was so frustrating because they came so close to the playoffs this year, and after a couple of very dry seasons, it's nice to see him help turn this program around.
Well, the program itself has gotten way better. They've focused on youth, and they've built a good culture, and you can see them improving year by year. I think next year the Broncos are going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I look forward to seeing their games next year. They got some fabulous players on that team with a lot of skill and a lot of youth, so they got a couple more years to build together to make a run for it. It's funny that you bring up the a little anecdote about the pink socks and the breast cancer awareness. Back when my son first started playing football, he said to me I had to buy pink socks for him because their team was going to support breast cancer. And I said, buddy, I don't think breast cancer needs any support. I think awareness of breast cancer needs support. The fight needs support.
Absolutely.
But breast cancer itself doesn't need the support.
As they get older, they learn and grow, just like these players. Some of them, and this will be their last regular season BCFC game. A player like James Moore that's been around the program for 5 years. Had that marvelous touchdown that looked like it had clinched second place for the Huskers near the end of the game last week against West Shore. He's among the graduates that were honored before this game, along with the Billet families, who are the unsung heroes of any junior sports program.
It does. It hurts the heart a little to know this is the last game and a call that James Moore has played, and he's been such a phenomenal player to watch over the years that he's been here. I've met him on a personal level as well, and he's just a really nice young man. And it's sad that this will be the last game that we get to call with him in it. One of the things that we got to give the Huskers credit for is their special teams play. This year, I've noticed their special teams have been a lot more improved than years past, culminating last week with the onside kick that they needed to get that score, recovered by Logan Aggressits, was just beautifully played. One guy played the man and the other guy played the ball, and it was a great team effort. The special teams for the Huskers looks phenomenal.
Well, Chavis Spencer, Shane Claridge and company, they're going to have their hands full with a very talented receiving core led by grade 12 student Colton Meikle. He's 6'5". He's an absolute freak. He's played 2 years of junior football. He is their leading receiver, and he wears number 17. You'll want to watch for him in white and blue and orange. He's worth the price of admission. And, of course, the Huskers have no shortage of players, including Reese Wyke, number 1, the running back, who's also amazing. As the Huskers will return this opening kickoff, and a nice return, motoring all the way up close to the 50-yard line inside their own half. And no surprise, Christopher Rolak II, their import out of Kansas, did a great job to get this crowd pumped up.
Rolak does exactly what needs to be done. Runs up the middle of the field. There's a gap there. He had blocking, and he just took off up the field and takes it back to the 50-yard line. That was a beautiful return to start this game off.
So they'll mark it 1 yard shy of that, as it's at the 49, where Josh Jansen, what a season he's having. Flagged one back behind him, and there's the give to Reese Wyke. Mom and dad in attendance, stiff arm. Charges his way up for a gain of 4.
It's a good job by the Broncos there to cut off that path up the sideline. Some good blocking gets Wyke out around the outside edge, but 2:44 and 3 for the Broncos really just shut the door and didn't let anybody come up that sideline. Picked up about 3 yards.
Their mom and dad said they couldn't miss the final regular season game this year. It's been a wonderful season. We know Big Brother also loves to watch the broadcast, so a shout out to him, former University of Calgary Dino baseball player after an outstanding high school football career as Jansen steps back, guns that one over the middle. Intended target Ethan Porter will fall just near his knees and will bring up third down.
You see, Jansen had him, saw him there, and then just put a little bit too much on it and went skipping up out of the dirt. Not really much you can do there. We're going to punt here early on third down, but the Huskers, they're going to get that ball back and make some noise later.
Well, we'll get a chance to see on defense the likes of number 16, Maurice Anyamayu, and he has been outstanding. Player out of Nigeria, tried out for the soccer team. Didn't make it, so they recruited him to play football. He's been among their leading tacklers the last 2 seasons. As that kick is fielded. And it's Caleb Sens, one of their top receivers, winding his way around. Makes it all the way back to about the Chem 50-yard line. We'll see where they mark him down. Maybe a little shorter of that.
He does a good job. It just keeps to the outside, and he's just outrunning defenders. Look quick here. And I can't see who comes across, but it's number 44. Number 44 is Aiden Saunders, the kicker himself, who made sure he didn't go all the way down the field.
They'll actually mark it at the Broncos 52-yard line along the inside left hash. It'll be Reed Van Conant, the former Valley Husker, spent a year here. He is the quarterback, and he'll step back and guns that over the middle. He's got a wide open receiver and a nice tackle, but a massive gain. They'll be marked down at the 34-yard line.
Well, it's number 31, San Henneberry, that comes in and it hits him low. And then another one of his Huskers teammates comes over the top and takes him down too. Beautiful hit, just drops the shoulder, spins the receiver around, and it looks like it's number 4, Jaden Klassen, that cleaned it up.
Number 88, Caleb Sens, to return the kick. Apparently he had lots of gas left in the tank. There's the handoff, and a rush for a couple of yards, and then he fumbles, and the Huskers, jubilation in the stands and on the sidelines, turn the ball over.
It looks like number 30, Andy Opuyusuheni, was able to come out of the pile with the ball there, and it looked like a big rugby scrum, but now we got someone hurt here, and I'm not sure if maybe he got hit and dropped the ball, and now he's kind of prone on the field, so hopefully he's okay.
So it was Jacob Mapoyu who took the handoff and charged his way in, and you can see big pile, and Huskers came up with the ball and began to celebrate. But yeah, you never like to see that early in the game. And is that number 3 of the Kamloops Broncos? And if that is Abe Fimbo. He's a linebacker. Or is that the running back, number 33, Mapoyu?
Oh, he's sitting up.
It is Mapoyu, and he is kind of holding near that shoulder area.
Yeah.
They're already without the services of the outstanding running back, Cam Gregorchik, and that'll knock the depth chart down even more, unfortunately, for the Broncos to start this game. And it looks like...
There you go. Yeah.
Actually, the reason Mapoyu is playing is their top 2 running backs, Evan Guizo and Cam Gregorchik, both out of the game. So Mapoyu, number 3 on the depth chart. And
well, this hurts the Broncos right there. I mean, Mapoyu is such a good runner, a big guy here. You see when he hit that pile there, he was moving some feet, but then the ball popped out and he went down, and hopefully he's okay.
David Coronado among the 3 receivers to the near hash as Josh Jansen barks out the signals. 2 receivers far side, hand to Wyke, shimmies his way through the hole. He'll pick up about 5 on that play.
Run game up the middle for Reese White.
That was a really slow developing play all around. The receivers just kind of jogged off the line, and it looked like Wyke was running in quicksand. It just slow developed there, and then he hits his throttle right at the line of scrimmage and fires through for the 4-yard pickup.
Ball just short of the 34-yard line. 2 this time to the near side. 3 receivers far side. Give again to Wyke. He'll try his luck up the right side. Finds Scampers his way through. He's past the 50 and the offensive line trying to mush him ahead a little bit further. Great run by one of the league's top running backs.
First down, Huskers.
A great job by White in second effort, but here you go again. We've talked about this before. If you don't take out his legs, you're not stopping Reese White. And here they grab him up high here, grab him up high there, and he's pushing, and it's not till they fall down on across his legs that he's able to. They're able to stop him.
13-yard pickup for Wyke, and he came into the game with 926 yards. How bad do you think this young man and that offensive line won a 1,000-yard rusher for the Huskers? Jansen now surveys pressure from the Broncos, finds a man laying out in the flat, and he will pick up yet another first down as this Huskers offense continues to roll early on here on this drive.
Well, Halsey's proven throughout the course of the year that he's a great check down option. And there he is standing alone in the zone. And he's able to dive across and fight his way across for another first down.
Ball at the 46-yard line of the Kamloops Broncos. Jansen. Another give to Wyke. Another big hole opens up. He pinball his way ahead, and I believe that's another first down.
Well, you watch White here, and it's absolutely beautiful. As he's running head low, shoulders low, running textbook perfect for a running back. He gets down low here, feels the contact, spins. As soon as he feels someone touching him, he spins, and that defender's not able to get a hold of him because he's rolling. He's moving in the opposite direction. It's beautiful.
How bad does Reese Wyke want to put on a show for mom and dad in the stands?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. When mom comes to visit, you got to put on a show.
Maybe a little home cooking was brought with theirs. There's a give on a jet sweep. Finds his way ahead, still on his feet, heading towards the end zone, knocked out at about the 4-yard line.
A little flick to Peyton Lake here, and he's off to the races with some beautiful blocking. Watch his block out on the outside edge. Oh, we just missed it on the replay. There was a defensive back coming in at him, and the receiver got in there and threw a block and gave Peyton Lake a landing pad they're just right back there. It was beautiful.
And a good work by Maxime Bosque of the Broncos to track him down before he reached the promised land. 31-yard pickup for Peyton Lake. Huskers now, Reese Wyke plows his way ahead. Looks like it'll bring up second down. He's just short of the end zone.
Yeah, Reese just hits that like a wrecking ball, but the wall stood. He's going to have to take a second run at it here. But here comes Lake, and you watch number one here, that block right there. And that was Wyke actually blocking him out. Just popped that lane open for Peyton Lake to get down to the 3-yard line. And here we go, Reese Wyke hitting the line like a wrecking ball, but the wall stood. And
made of some really serious concrete, that wall.
Oh, huge. One thing I was watching pregame here is the size of their lines. O-line and D-line over on the Broncos is massive.
2-yard pickup. Somebody jumped the gun. Laundry everywhere on the field.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be the offensive tackle, the right tackle. Thought it was on one when it should have been two. Now they're backing it up here. It's going to be 2nd and 6 from the 6-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 6-yard line. And they brought back out Josh Jansen for this play.
The fans urge the team on. A big second down here and a chance for the Huskers to get on the board early. 3 receivers near side. One to the far side. Throws that one down low and hits the turf before it could be corralled in. So that'll bring up 3rd down. A good attempt there by number 88, Reese Morrison. Couldn't quite corral that, and Aiden Saunders, the kicking team, will make their way out for a chip shot.
Well, it's an odd play for Josh Jansen and Reese Morrison, being that they're the 2 tallest guys out there on the field, and the ball was down near the ground. It's hard to get down there when you're that long and lengthy.
So Jansen 1 for 3. Early here in this game, 8:20 remaining. Saunders will line up About a 13-yard field goal. Kick is up, and he will power that through, and the Huskers take the early 3-0 lead.
Well, the sure foot of Aiden Saunders, I mean, it's almost automatic if he's down below the 20, that's for sure.
So a nice drive by the Huskers, stalled by that penalty. See if the defense can make another stand here. As Broncos look good on that drive until the fumble, and as we saw, there was an injury that came with that fumble. But the Broncos do have some weapons for Van Conant to work with. Sens and Mikkel will top that list. The running game, though, could be a bit of a problem. As you mentioned, at least 2 running backs out, maybe 3. And so does that mean they look like the Huskers from about 6 years ago, where it's just Noah Faulkner in the air attack?
Well, and yeah, that's going to be the part that hurts them. I mean, you got to stay healthy.
Pressure from the Huskers, and there's Mikkel. Reception, big first down as the ball was at the 35.
Well, and it's Mikkel. I mean, he's standing out there, and he looks like a man among boys, but you're telling me he's a grade 12 student in Kamloops.
I know there are some teams looking at him, some universities in Canada, and who wouldn't? A 6'5" receiver,
yeah,
playing junior football 2 years.
That's some good experience for him, that's for sure.
Ball spotted at the Huskers' 49-yard line. Van Conant once again to Mikkel, and he just powers through the defender. And he'll bash his way ahead, and if he doesn't have the first down, he's awfully close.
Well, this is impressive timing or just confidence on Van Conant's part here. You watch, he throws the ball. Mikkel's not looking. There he turns there. It's right there. And he knew exactly where it was going to be and was able to bring it in, turn around, and dive forward.
That'll be a first down. Back-to-back first downs for Colton Mikkel. And the reason he's playing junior football is his high school does not have a football team. So they granted him kind of exceptional status. You see that in hockey a lot.
Yes, yeah.
There's Sens now trying to wind his way around on the sweep. And he'll pick up about 4 maybe on the play.
Good speed to the outside. Sens has shown that he's a quick guy here. Comes on the jet sweep, comes across, but he doesn't really have any blocks. Even the tackle gets off there, and they just kind of run him right to the outside. And he only picked up about 3 yards on that. But he's got some wheels. If he gets open, he's going to be gone.
Now they'll give him 4 on the play as Van Conant keeps this offense marching. Thomas Jeeves, part of a 3-receiver set. Huskers will bring 4. Pressure up top, and the turf monster rears its head again as the Broncos receiver tumbled. It was Mikkel. And that'll bring up third down.
And you got to watch this fight over there between the left tackle and the defensive end, James Moore, because it's a thing of beauty every time. The tackle's a big guy, and he's doing a good job of fending off Moore for now, but it's going to be a long game for him. It's number 54, Jordan Smith, and the battle going on between these two is a lot of fun to watch.
And they're going for it. Hard snap. Flag flown a little bit late. Van Conant now is actually 4th in rushing for the Broncos. Moved ahead, but we'll see if the laundry will bring it back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be offside on the Huskers. You can see that the defensive line jumped a little bit and then did not reset.
He goes for running the first down territory.
Yeah, they're waving off that penalty.
Flag for offside. It was declined first down, Broncos.
It would have been an offside on the Huskers, but they get the first down without the penalty, so they just move the sticks to there.
So a nice 8-yard rush for Reed Van Conant. His brother Braden, the head coach, helping turn this Broncos program around. Oh, so close to the playoffs. Langley Rams edged him for that honor last week. Nice rush here for the Huskers. Moore in pursuit. There's a flag flown, and That'll be a holding on the offensive line, but I think that was more don't hurt my quarterback hold. Good pressure from the Huskers.
And it really was. And 54, who's been doing a great job against Moore, Jordan Smith, they brought Moore down to the near side, and he was going up against, I do believe, 56. Who is David Wheeler, and Moore got around Wheeler quickly. So you watch this, you get one of the Kellys is out there on the outside, and Smith gets him, but Moore chases Van Conant out, so Kelly turns out, and Smith had to do the grab there to keep his quarterback from getting crushed.
So once again, much like it was for the Huskers on their last drive, a penalty kind of stalls things up on something that looked very promising.
1st and 10 from the 36-yard line.
Empty backfield now. Van Conant looks left, overthrows his man. He finds a Valley Husker. Interception, still on his feet, and finally brought down at the 51-yard line. And there could be extra yards tacked on to that.
Number 22, Zach Badkey, who is on Johnny on the spot there. The ball's over the receiver's head, and the defender right into his chest. It's a beautiful throw, just to the wrong team. And you watch here on the replay, Van Conant drops back, and he's looking for number 17, but just overshoots him, and Badkey's right there. And he's a little slow getting going the other direction, so they're able to get on top of him, but a great interception and pickup.
First down.
That stalls a 7-play drive for the Broncos, and once again, another turnover. This time, Badkey's first interception of the year. Huskers go to work now from the Broncos' 50-yard line. Jansen now, play action. Throws that over the middle. Turf Monster this time decides to tip the scales of justice the other way, and incomplete for the Huskers.
Well, he fires to his right here, but if he's looking to his left, Luke Rodriguez is standing in the zone over here all by himself. And that would have been a great pass there, but just couldn't get it to him over on the right side.
Can't blame it on the wet conditions. We talked about this before the game, how normally this time of year it's pouring rain, but it's been desert-like conditions here in Chilliwack. Jansen will air it out, and he returns the favor. Interception. Broncos, number 15, Jack Belafontaine with the interception.
Yeah, Belafontaine does a great job here coming up for it, and the receiver even tries to pull it out of his hands after the fact, but can't. And Belafontaine's able to hold on to the ball. Beautiful interception. So both offenses have been able to put a bit of a march on here, but no one's able, besides the 3 points on the field goal, no one can punch it into the end zone. No majors yet.
So that is interception number 3. Now, normally, the man intercepted is Keegan Kurgis. He's got 9 interceptions on the year, unless that's a typo on the BCFC website.
Wow. That's good. And there we got number 17, Miko, running the ball this time. He came right out of the tailback position and ran it for a pickup of about 4 yards, 5 yards. Oh, no, even further. 8 yards. Really good job here. He got the snap, hands it off, comes in the kind of a jet sweep, gets through the first line and up to the second line of defense. Really good run.
Playbook out of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill. Huskers show pressure now. Flag thrown. Pass is caught. Brought down for a first down, but we'll see if that pass will stand complete to number 19, Brock Dufour.
Well, it's Ofusu Henning here that's coming in for the blitz, and he doesn't pull up in time. A little bit quick on the snap and offside. They'll decline that just like the last one because on the play they were able to get the first down, so positive yardage. So there we go. Decline the penalty. Take it where it landed.
So Van Conant connects for 11 yards. Dufour. Huskers 4-man front. Broncos empty out the backfield. Look left. They've got the man. It bounces around like a Barnum and Bailey circus act.
Complete second down.
The receiver bounced the ball up in the air here. You see it comes up in the air, and the defenders could have actually made a play, but they were more worried about the receiver catching it. They're coming in for the hit, and they really missed an opportunity there.
Pearson actually did a great job on the replay I saw. As it was up in the air, he kind of tacked it around again so it would fall down as he saw the defenders coming in.
Smart field awareness.
Van Conant running for his life. Huskers bring the house, throw that, and Van Conant to Sins, and that's a huge first down.
The composure that Van Conant's showing here, knowing that James Moore is running up behind him and about to hit him, is excellent. He not only makes a bullet of a throw on the run, he does it without actually getting touched at all. Here he goes. He sees that Moore's coming. He takes off running. Then he sees his man downfield and just lets one go on the run, and it's on a rope. The only person catching that was Sens.
16-yard reception, Sens again. And I told you both teams had a lot of firepower, and it was going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
There's a reception, and that one will go for naught.
Well, Sens here catches the little throw and goes to take off. He's got some great blockers, but the defensive back, I can't see what number it is, gets past him and just gets a hold of the jersey and wrestles him down.
So they'll give him one on the play. Huskers maintain that four-man front. Broncos maintain an empty backfield. They're not even holding their cards close to their chest.
No.
They're out there flying. Van Conant airs out a beautiful ball. He's got the man, and it is in his mitts, and then it falls out. Chris Finden, who was one of their top receivers last year, and he had an easy 6, and he just couldn't quite corral it.
You got to bring those in, and here it does. It hits him in both hands, bounces off his chest, and he just loses it. You really, really want those back. And Van Conant knows, too, that he put it where it needed to be caught.
And Van Conant with quite the lettuce under the helmet there. Yeah. That is absolutely flowing.
That's got to be warm today, that's for sure.
There we go. 3rd and 9. Once again, I wonder if the kicker's hurt, because they are going for it on 3rd down. And a great sack by the Huskers. Well, it's number 30. Andy Ofusuheni drops the quarterback.
Well, he got an offside call earlier, and he times it perfectly this time. He just comes firing through the hole, and Van Conant's got nowhere to do. He tries to stiff arm him, but Ofusuheni's got too much speed, too much power coming in there. And here we got a turnover on downs, but this is their 3rd trip into the Huskers' end, and the 3rd time it's a turnover.
3rd sack of the year for Ofusuheni. That guy's done pretty much everything for the Huskers this year. So for the amount of great plays we've seen, it's been turnovers that have really been the difference. It's only a 3-0 game despite lots of action. Draw play. Wyke finds his way along the left side, stiff arm, barrels into the defender, smashes the ball into the fencing. Reese Wyke putting on an absolute clinic out there.
Well, Latander decided to be the bulldozer in this play. You watch number 99, Xavier Latander, running up the field and smoking people left and right to give Wyke that room. I think they should hand Latander the ball one day and just see what happens. I'd love to see that.
Another 11-yard rush for Reese Wyke, who is inching ever so close to 1,000 yards on the season. They'll give the ball to him again. Sneaks his way through.
He's about 2 yards short of the first down.
So Wyke, and the coaching staff and the team know he's close to 1,000 yards.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know the last time the Huskers had a 1,000-yard rusher. They are really pushing for that today, and maybe to wear down that interior of the Broncos defense.
That's always the key with running the ball, and that's exciting. But I think that's secondary into the whole point of winning the game and playing a balanced game. But it is secondary, but it's still there, and you're always thinking about it, and you want to make that happen for him and for the team.
Second and short, back to White. Tackled from behind. A nice play. Number 16, Maurice Onyemiu. Take him down.
Well, I think Maurice said, I've seen enough of this show here. And he comes around the outside edge. Pretty much unblocked. Oh, no, it's number 3, actually. Number 3 came around. It was Abe Bimbo that came around the backside and was able to get a hold of him there and say no more. Because Reese White's just been running wild this afternoon.
Of the first quarter, your score 3-0 for the Valley Huskers.
Yeah, the excitement in this game, this first half so far, first quarter so far, is phenomenal. And we're looking at a 3-0 scoreboard. I don't know if you watched Thursday Night Football with that fabulous 12-9 overtime, but this doesn't feel like that. This feels like two teams that are battling.
Neither quarterback here is making $250 million either. I'm like Russ Dange Wilson.
Yeah.
23 season. So
Well,
feel free to connect.
Matty Ice too, right? Like you got two very well-paid quarterbacks,
I'd like to give
and
a special shout out to the Chilliwack Chiefs. They're co-hosting today's game. With today's admission to the Valley Huskers, you received a stamp which entitles you to $5.
And this game brought to you by Zone Garage in Fraser Valley. Find them on Facebook. They can
Your local
take any space and transform it into something awesome. It could be a garage. It could be anything with a floor. Check them out on Facebook. A proud sponsor here of the BCFC Game of the Week on TELUS Channel 1999.
will be announced at the end.
We got a great crew for the Win Media. AJ, Travis, Kylie, Jacob, and Robbie bringing us all the visuals all game long. And they've had a lot to follow today, as you mentioned, Matt. Lots of great receiving. In fact, you look at a guy like Colton Miko. I watch him. I don't know if you watch the show, Crown Countdown U, that's on TSN, but they cover Canadian players playing down south. And, of course, here is Huskers looking for the first down and plow ahead, but
pretty sure they got it.
They got measure. Yeah, and they got it. No measurement needed.
Very good job just to hammer it through and get that first down. It sucks being 3rd and 1. If you go and you get it, everybody's happy. If you miss it, they question what you did.
But you watch a guy like Colton Miko on the Broncos, or maybe Reese White, and maybe in a few years we'll see them on Crown Countdown U, dominating in the university ranks in the States or in Canada. One of my guilty, lesser-known pleasures watching that show. There's a handoff, a little change of pace in the Broncos. Like that change of pace. There's a handoff to number 9, Jawad Harb, and he's wrapped up right away.
Yeah, Harb seemed to be coming pretty slow. When you got to hit that line like that, you got to be a bit quicker than there. And the defenders were able to set up on him here. And his blocker gets downhill, and he kind of stutter steps and goes to cut inside. But number 44 is Maxim Bosk, and he was there waiting for him. Out of the middle linebacker position, he was able to collapse down on him.
So 2nd and about 8 for Josh Jansen. He'll survey with pressure, throws that one, and a nice play by the receiver. Down on his knees, sends out a prayer. That prayer was answered. Coronado picks up, I believe, the first down.
But I like this about Coronado here. You got Jansen rolling out to his right, and Coronado gets down low and gets underneath that ball and is able to bring it in just past the sticks.
And they're actually short. They'll bring up 3rd and 1 again. And then comes Reese White, maybe a little wildcat action again. Direct snap to him. I like the wildcat because you're not worried about the fumble, the exchange. You're just going straight to the source. There's White under center. Channeling his inner Tom Brady. Unlike Brady, though, he will plunge ahead on a run himself, pick up the first down.
And I like this too. He gets everybody looking like they're coming straight up the middle, and he rolls to his right and finds a little gap, falls down through it, and now he's good. There to his right, sees the hole, drops the shoulder, opens the door.
Ball at the 17-yard line, and Josh Jansen, what a season he has had for the Valley Huskers. He had come into the game just shy of 2,000 yards. He's past that, I believe, today now. He was at 1987. Great year, by the way. Jansen now with White behind him. 3 receivers far side, 2 to the near side. Hand off to White. Waits for the hole to open. Sachets his way around a couple of blocks, and he'll pick up another
Say about
good
7.
chunk here.
Good 7 of them. Beautiful job here. Just following his blockers. He's got great patience. Does a little sidestep there. You love that about White, is his patience in the blocking the interior run game. He's got the speed to hit the outside or a gap, but if there's an interior run game where he's got to stay behind blockers, very patient, a good stutter step, a good sidestep. He just does a really good job with it.
6-yard pickup for Reese White. 2nd and short, Huskers. Play action. There's the pass. Rolls his way towards the end zone, but about a foot shy.
Well, and here we go. And it's a good little play action here. Pulls it back and fires it. Another low pass, but he gets down low to catch it. Do you get the number there? Is that 80? Is that Peyton Lake?
I believe it is Peyton Lake, number 80.
Peyton Lake does a really good job getting down low and getting that ball. But he's just not over. And like that last one, just not quite over the first down marker and just not quite into the end zone.
Will be a first down, though, so he'll get 3 cracks at the kitty here to punch this through. And it looks like Wildcat once again, Reese White. So they're going to try to just punish their way through. White takes a handoff, slides ahead, touchdown, Huskers! And a 9-0 lead for the hosts.
But the Huskers are happy with this because they marched all the way down to the other end and only got a field goal. Now they got a touchdown. This is what they wanted. This is what they came for.
6 rushing touchdowns now for White to go along with the 2 he's caught through the air. So 8 touchdowns on the year in 9 games. Not too bad for the running back out of Manitoba. And I just love the confidence he's brought in this year. He's come in, he's wanted to be the guy, and he's backed it up with everything he's done.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. He's put in the work, he's put in the time, and he runs the hard yards. I can't say anything negative about his work ethic out there.
Saunders will punch that one through. Remains perfect, 26 of 26 converting the extra point. And the Huskers, more importantly, take the 10-0 lead. And remember, last week against West Shore, they didn't have any points on the board until the second half. So getting a little bit of a jump start today.
Yeah. Well, the second half of that game was 3-0 at halftime. And the outbursts of offense in that second half was a lot of fun to watch.
So the Huskers have a chance to do something they've never done, and that's go 5-0 at home. Of course, I believe the seasons might have been a little shorter in the past. Could be mistaken. I think there's some years where it was 8 games.
I think only
some years, COVID, 10 years. Was it only COVID?
I think it was only COVID. I think it's always been 10 otherwise.
But there have been years where they haven't gotten 5 wins on the season, let alone at home.
Exactly. And recently, too. I mean, so this is awesome that they're able to get, and the one on the road, I mean, we've got a 6-win season happening here if they win today. So
Broncos would like to have a word about that, though, so they'll try to respond here. And a high end-over-end kick takes a good bounce, fielded by Caleb Sens. Sens so quick around the edge. Makes his way ahead up to about the 39-yard lines where the Broncos Reed Van Conant in his final junior season. He will try to spur on this offense. Really, the offenses look good.
Yeah.
It's been the turnovers that have killed them.
That's really hurt them. I mean, they had the one turnover on downs there, but the other 2, the fumble, the interception, that really hurt. We like on the kickoff there, again, it was Aiden Saunders getting down and making the tackle. And he was way downfield this time to go catch him. So Saunders doesn't want anybody running yards back on his punts, that's for sure.
Huskers chewed up over 6 minutes on that 10-play drive, getting into the end zone for the first time this afternoon. A beautiful sunny afternoon in Chilliwack. Little haze, though, maybe from the forest fires in the distance. Van Conant now feeling the pressure, airs it out, a beautiful spiral. And that one just out of the reach of Chris Finden, who's been the intended target a couple of times, but they haven't connected.
Yeah, it's Finden gets down the field nicely. He even beats Rolak, and he's got a step on him, but he just couldn't get to the ball. I don't know if Van Conant didn't quite outside enough for him. I think he was fading out, and maybe Vancona thought he was fading in, but just didn't connect.
Two receivers have been the number one targets. Caleb Sens and Colton Meikle each have caught 3 passes for Vancona as the Broncos 2nd and 10 from their own 39. Empty backfield again, hunted by Moore. Blocked up. Vancona throws that high. Little push off there by the receiver, and wonder if he had caught it, if he would have been nabbed for some offensive pass interference.
Well, I think the defender and him kind of pushed opposite directions at the same time. Vancona here sees the number 7 coming flying at him, so he runs away, spins out to his right-hand side and throws it, and the receiver and the defender both push off each other. The defender tries to knock it down, receiver gets a bounce off his chest.
Out of the reach of Jeeves, the intended target. They bring up 3rd down. They haven't punted yet today. I have a feeling they won't stray from that. And you know what? In a game where they have nothing to lose, they know their place.
Yeah.
They're just trying to go for their 5th win of the year. I love it. Have some fun. Well, it looks like as I speak that, someone's back to punt.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing here is you want to have fun, and the standings, they matter in the long-term things. But when you come in as a football player, you're a competitor. You don't give up on any game. You play everyone like it's your last.
That could be a 15-yard penalty as it was caught in the air as he was tackled at the same time.
Timing is everything here. 5 yards. Who heard about that? So here he goes. I think he hits him before the ball makes contact. So I think that's going to be a 15-yard penalty. No yards on the Broncos.
Benjamin Fomavong, the man in there. It was a nice tackle. Beautiful form, but unfortunately you can't do that.
Yeah, it looks like it's a 15-yarder right there. So that puts him right on the center yard line.
I thought you were going to break into some John Fogerty center field there, the way this was going.
I was having some issue with words there.
Right, the midway stripe is where Josh Jansen will go to work. It's been a Reese White kind of first half here. He remains behind him. 4 receivers over the far side. There's a screen. And it is Tyron Duvall. I love it. Get the other quarterback involved. Get him in the game. Screen pass.
Tyron Duvall is a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback, really. But Tyron Duvall is an excellent athlete. And throwing a ball to an athlete like this and just telling him to get up the field, really good job. And I think the Huskers would benefit getting the ball into Tyron Duvall's hands more. And I think that might be something they build on, through the playoffs or in the next year or so, because Tyron was hurt for a while this year as they were trying to get him more involved. But he does special things when he's got the ball in his hands.
There's the give to Wyke, looking for 3 yards, and the Broncos a great job, stand him up, and he maybe will pick up a yard on the surge ahead, depending on where the spot is, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
I think it's going to be 3rd and inches here. I just got to look at it. It almost looks like it's right on top, and I think they're going to measure. Let's have a measurement.
Well, if mom and dad are watching live, you got to give a little, right?
If refs had hearts, we would be like that. But they're here to enforce the rule.
And they are here to play the role of Grinch for the hometown fans often. And out come the chains.
Yeah, and it's funny. People get mad with the refs because they don't get what they want, but the refs give them what's right, and then sometimes it's not what you want.
They are the judges on the field. This looks good. They got it. 3-yard rush for White. That'll push it to the Kamloops 45-yard line. Up 10-0 are the Huskers. 4-0 at home, 6-3 overall. Need to win today to have a shot at 2nd place, and then they need some help from the Vancouver Island Raiders against the West Shore Rebels.
And that's tonight at 7, I do believe.
That's going to be a tough task. But you know what? Maybe the Raiders just find an extra gear in their final game. Hand off, Wyke, pursued from behind, taken down.
Beautiful tackle. Number 3, Abe Fimbo gets in there right away. And it's the second time we've seen him get in there with a burst of speed like that and stop Wyke. And here he comes off the top side and just comes in on an angle and is able to whip him around and bring him down.
Fimbo, another one of those veterans for the Kamloops Broncos. And Had a few lean years, did the Broncos, much like these Huskers, and both programs starting to turn around. Huskers hoping for more than a turnaround. They won a championship this year. Jansen steps back, great protection. Man, wide open. He's heading to the 5. He's got a touchdown. Huskers. Ethan Porter.
Ethan Porter is a race car. When you talk about all these big boys and these big trucks out there banging, you get the little race car, comes flying in behind. No one sees him, hits him in stride, and he's off to the races. This is a beautiful play by Jansen and Porter. Jansen drops back. He's watching Porter all the way. He's like, I see you. I see where you're going. There's the ball. Get to the end zone. And he does.
Jansen threads the needle.
We got some flags after the play at the end zone here. I don't know. Didn't see any big celebrations or anything, so I don't know what they might be about. But that was, I think that play was, Jansen was watching Porter the whole way, saw where he was going, saw what he was doing, said I liked it, and dropped the ball right in his lap. Beautiful play.
So that is the 22nd receiving touchdown that Jansen has fired this year. And this is the 10th game. Anytime your quarterback's chucking 2 to 3 touchdowns, you're having a pretty good year.
No kidding.
That one clears the scoreboard and heads over the fence. And that's now a 17-0 lead for your Huskers with 7 minutes still remaining in the first half. And what the Broncos don't want is this game to get out of hand. What the Huskers want is to make sure they've done their part to at least be in the conversation for second.
Well, that's one thing here too, but this game here, they know they're in the playoffs. They're playing the West Shore Rebels. They've got to fine-tune their craft this week because the next week the Rebels are going to come out, and yeah, they beat them 28-10 last week. The Rebels are going to be prepared for them going out the next time. So this is a week where they really, really want to fine-tune everything. And it's not about taking a rest or taking the time off or knowing you're in the playoffs. This is about going out there and making sure you're ready to produce in the playoffs.
So we've hit 2 milestones. It looks like Wyke has reached the 1,000-yard mark. Josh Jansen has reached the 2,000-yard mark. So, and we've still got over a half of football to play. Saunders will boom that over to the right side. Takes a Husker bounce, fielded at about the 30-yard line, and good special teams play by the Huskers will track him down and limit his success, as the Broncos will start things out around the 40-yard line.
Well, it only took a couple kicks, but they decided not to kick the Sens anymore because he was just running the back on them. But Michael didn't do too much different or worse. Here he gets it on the bounce, is able to bring it forward and pick up about 10 yards before he's brought down. Beautiful tackle by number 77, Chase Lewins.
It is the TELUS Game of the Week here in the BCFC on channel 1999 for everyone else watching on BCFCTV.com. Also brought to you by Zone Garage, Fraser Valley. Check them out to renovate your special space. Warren Andrews, Matt Macri, Huskers leading 17-0. Van Conant with the screen pass over. He finally gets one of his top targets from last year, number 85, Chris Finden. After 2 misconnections, they finally connect up there on the screen pass.
Well, they shortened up the distance. They got to get this connection going because 85 is a big guy with good hands, so they got to get the connection going. So they shortened it down to just a few yards, and maybe later on we'll see him trying to hit another big one.
A 5-yard pickup, and you notice that not just the lines of the Broncos, they've got some very rangy receivers also. Meikle and Finden, and there's the pass, and Van Conant. Very fortunate that the Huskers were watching where the receivers were tracking on their routes. Otherwise, that could have been another interception.
Well, and that's the thing is they've got these big, tall receivers, but the guy that's doing the damage out there is little 88. I mean, he doesn't need the height. But he's still doing the damage. A couple jet sweeps, couple of catches, some returns. This Sens is a lot of fun to watch.
Huskers with 6 minutes and 21 seconds to go here in the half. A chance to put some more points on the board. As the Broncos will punt, this time from their own 30-yard line. Huskers' first drive of the game stalled since then. It has been a well-oiled machine, minus the interception. The Huskers will field that and head out of bounds and start from, I think, about their own 35-yard line, depending on the spot.
I think that was Rolak there, too. He was trying to get turned back upfield. He's running towards the sidelines at full speed here. He's trying to get turned upfield, but he just couldn't hang on to it and get turned, and just nowhere to go. Good coverage by number 9. Thomas Delgado was able to make sure there was nowhere for him to go to.
So ball placed at the 37-yard line. One of the deeper spots Jansen's had to start from. He's had very good field position throughout the majority of this game. A lot of that due to the Broncos going on third down, at least in the first quarter. Just over 5.5 minutes remaining. Jansen handoff. White looks for the hole to open up. Heads right. Good play by the Broncos as he was about to round the bend and they'll trip him up.
I don't think he picked up any yards there. He's just off to the... Yeah, here's the handoff here, and he goes out to the outside, and he stopped before he could get just about going anywhere.
Logan Ritchie, number 8, with the track down.
Yeah, well, he picked up about 2 yards on that there play.
Thank you, Jethro. Jansen now looks left. Doesn't like what he sees. Rambles ahead, and with that very rangy body, lunges ahead, just falling prone. You can pick up 2 or 3 yards if you're Josh Jansen.
Yeah, he does a good job here at the dive at the end. I really like it. He doesn't slide, he dives forward. And that's the difference. When you start to slide, it's from where you started. Here he dives, and so where it ends up. And pretty good placement, but it's going to be 3rd and about 1 for them.
Football fans, the Valley Huskers would kindly ask that all of our billing families this evening that are currently in attendance, please start making your way down to the billing appreciation tent. The Black.
So this will be, I believe, the 3rd or 4th, 3rd and 1 for the Huskers here in the first half.
Appreciation ceremony.
We had Tyron Duvall out there.
Marches ahead. Not sure if he got it.
Oh.
Broncos saying no.
It's looking from this side. Both the line judge on this side and in the middle have him pass the first down marker. And you get, Tyron Duvall does really well with the ball here. And the fact that he takes the snap, he can throw, but there's no point. He tucks it away and he drives forward, and it's big 45. Simon Hearn, who meets him, but just can't stop him from pushing forward to get that first down.
They marked him 2 on that play.
I mean, you got a player like Tyron Duvall. He can throw, he can run, he can catch, he can hit. I mean, he's the Swiss Army knife that does everything well. So you got someone out there like that. It's nice to have him in scenarios like that where you need someone just to make a play. And when you got the ball in Tyron Duvall's hand, he's going to make a play.
He's made an impact in both times they've gone to him. Picked up 8 yards on the reception off the screen play, and then here they needed a big first down and maybe spare a little wear and tear on Reese White and get Duvall involved.
But in the first couple of games of the season, they were utilizing him like that as well. But then he got hurt. And then last week, it was his first week back, and they didn't really play him too much. He didn't really get into it. But it's nice to see that they're getting him back into it today, because that's going to be a hidden weapon in the season.
So the Huskers from the 49, once again, a 3-receiver pack to the near side, 2 receivers far side. White steps up to block now as Jansen throws that out, finds his man. There's the first down. It's Peyton Lake.
Nope, Coronado.
Couldn't see the referee, was obscuring my vision, but a nice reception nonetheless.
It's Coronado, and he does this quite regularly. You know, they'll roll out by Jansen here, and he sees Coronado and drops it down to him, and Coronado's able to pick it up, turn around, get upfield, and get past that first down marker before taking a couple of big hits. Jumps up, and he's happy about it.
13-yard reception for Coronado. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Huskers in front 17-0. Marching the ball slowly down the field.
So the refs were doing with the fingers there? Is it a 3-minute warning? I thought it was like gang signs or something.
Are you wearing blue or red? Wyke, big hole opened up, and then the Broncos, with a wonderful job, got out the duct tape and closed that hole awfully quick.
Yeah, 45 there. Simon Hearn once again making his presence felt. Shuts the door on Wyke. Wyke gets the ball, and you see the burst downhill here. And Hearn just, he kind of squats down and braces for it. But he's able to take the wrecking ball that is Reese Wyke full on and then drive him backwards.
So give about 1.5 yards on the carry. Bring up second down. Do my best to do some fake stats for you as I do at the half. Draw play up the middle. Wyke barrels ahead. Yeah, I think he's going to be short of the first down by about a yard.
Once again, short of the first down by about a yard. But what a run by Wyke here. It's a draw play, so everybody's coming past, and he just goes on up into the second level. And number 2 can't get at him.
Third down.
And it's number 44, we've called his name Maxim Bosk, that's able to trail him and get at him. Number 15, Jack Belafonte making his presence felt one more time here by dropping his shoulder and slowing Wyke down.
So one other game we haven't talked about happening in the BCFC, the Okanagan Sun looking to stay perfect this season, take on the expansion Prince George Kodiaks today.
Where are they playing?
I think it's in Okanagan.
Is it?
The Apple Bowl. Maybe they'll rest a lot of starters. There's Wyke now. Nice hole opens up. Wyke rumbling ahead. Reese Wyke taken down to the 5-yard line.
You love seeing something like that. Reese Wyke gets around to the outside edge, and there's just an open path for him, and off he goes to the races. Look at this. This is beautiful. Here he goes. Big block there. Gets up there. Number 11, Shavis Spencer, he usually plays defensive backs, playing receiver, is blocking for him, and Wyke almost gets by that last guy to get to the end zone on a big run. But what a beautiful run that was.
32 yards. He's not just going for 1,000 yards. He'd like 1,100, please. Fans urging on the Huskers with 1.5 minutes remaining in the half. Handoff again to Wyke. Waiting for the hole to open. Reese Wyke, second touchdown today. Touchdown, Huskers.
So if the Huskers have said, we're going to work on our blocking in this game today because we got to get better at that, they are getting better at that. The blocks here, I could have driven a car through that path that they made for Reese Wyke. That was fabulous.
And we're talking like 1970s Cadillac car.
One of the 25-footers. Right through there. That was beautiful blocking all around. Wyke sees that kind of gap, and he's gone. He's shot out of a cannon right down there.
7th rushing touchdown and 9th touchdown overall for Reese Wyke. Having a day for himself. A number 1 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts if you're a Husker fan. And the Huskers in front 24-0.
So one thing we don't talk about enough about is the kickers, and I got to talk about number 44, Aiden Saunders on the Huskers here, because I think he might be a grade 12 student as well. But he's phenomenal. That foot of his is great. His punting, he can directional punt. He's kicking field goals. He's kicking extra points. He's almost automatic every time. Last week he was driving the Rebels back on kickoffs, just driving them backwards.
And it was one of those.
Him progress.
It was nice to see the way he did it too. It wasn't just skying them high. There was a little bit of strategy involved in terms of trying to get those bounces, and more often than not, he did get them.
Yeah, he did, and he's a young guy. Like I said, if he's not still in grade 12, He just graduated this past year, so he's got a long time for the Huskers here for him to fine-tune his craft. That it already looks great.
Wyke and the Huskers putting on a show on the TELUS Game of the Week. Channel 1999 for all TELUS Optic subscribers. And also for our friends who have paid to enjoy this game on bcfctv.com. There's the return, stopped up at the 30-yard line where the Broncos will have another long field.
Well, Mapoyo gets a pretty good return here, picks up about 10 yards, sends us out there blocking for him before he's taken down by a group of Huskers there. But the nice thing is that they realize that Sens is getting lots of positive yards. Don't kick the Sens, and he hasn't since. And that's that directional kicking I was talking about.
Well, and it's nice to see it was Mapoyo that did it, who went down after that carry early with the injury, came back to field that kick. So you love to see them back in the game.
So he came back a little while ago, like the last play, but it's good to see him back. You're right.
Thomas Jeeves, part of a 4-receiver package. Van Conant right over the middle, finds his man, and he's still on his feet. And he's making his way closer to the end zone. Taken down just shy of about the 3 or 2 yard line. Great pass by Reed Van Conant, and the Broncos are knocking on the door.
Broncos receive and run down the side.
Number 19, Brock Dufort, does a great job of making the catch here coming across the field. Outruns Sam Henneberry, which is hard to do. Makes a nice move on Travis Spencer. The blocker comes back and gets in front of Spencer, so he can't really get at him. Adi Ofusuheni and Rolak were able to track him down and stop him about the 3 yard line. Go back to the first quarter. This happened to the Huskers. They got stopped in the same spot and had to settle for a field goal. So let's hope the same happens here.
So Brock Dufort with a 67-yard reception. A lot of those were yak yards after catch.
Once again, football fans, we kindly ask
the Broncos with a chance to burst the bubble.
opportunity to do so already.
Minute 5 to go here in the half.
Huskers tent to the right of the grandstands and meet up with the other billet families to prepare for our halftime ceremony. A reminder, football fans.
And this is the first time the Broncos have been in the red zone.
Our volunteers walking around and in the crowd. Please show your support for the Valley Huskers, and the winner will be announced.
So next game, we know they'll be playing the West Shore Rebels. We don't know if it'll be here at Exhibition Field or if it'll be down at the Starlight Stadium, I believe it is, in Victoria.
On our website, go to
That's what made last weekend's game so interesting, is that the Huskers had 2 hills to climb. One beating the Rebels, and then 2 beating by enough points to guarantee a home field game. And they climbed the one, and everybody was elated. They got to the top of the second, and then they slid back just a bit. So really, they want to make sure they win this week and become Vancouver Island Raiders later tonight. Fans tonight.
There's the pass over the middle. Good defensive play by the Huskers. Broke up the intended pass for Meikle.
That's one down.
It's veteran number 10, Bentley Thomas, comes across here with the smackdown. Beautiful job. Van Conant drops back. Little drop down, and Bentley Thomas is able to get his hand in there and miss it up.
Really, it was a nice throw because it was low and just a good defensive play. Stopped that up, and they did have Mapoyo as the lone back. They've cleared him out. 3 receivers to each side. Van Conant right over the middle, overthrows the target. However, there is a flag on the field.
There's 2 flags on the field, and one's going to be a defensive holding, and the other's going to be roughing the passer, because both of those things happened.
Complete flags down the play.
So the Broncos with a very good chance here to go into the halftime feeling a little better about themselves, punching this in with under a minute remaining. And these penalties will bring that right near the goal line.
Yeah, that'll be a first down and on the 1, I do believe. Or pretty close. You get a pass interference and a roughing the passer. That's going to put them right down there on the 1 yard line.
Hey, I wonder if Van Conant, who is, I think, their fourth best receiver or running back, will keep it. Try to plunge it in. That's been the real challenge for him today, is that lack of a running game due to injuries.
Well, like last week with watching Jesse, you look at Van Conant, and he's got the build of a linebacker, fullback, with the arm of a good quarterback, where he can power through these kind of plays and just get it in there. There we go.
Van Conant plunging ahead. Was the surge enough? Waiting for the officials to raise their arms. Kind of almost backed his way in.
He did it, and that's, I think, might be what they're waiting for, is the ball got turned to the backside as opposed to pushing it forward. You watch here, he takes the snap, rolls off to the side, and then turns around. Now the ball is behind his body, so he has to get his body and the ball across the end zone. And the ref's right there, you can see, watching that like a hawk, and that ball didn't cross the line.
Timeout called by the Huskers.
Huskers call a timeout. What a stop this would be for the Huskers if they can hold Kamloops Broncos to a field goal, bring up second down here. Although you have to wonder if the Broncos are just playing 3-down football right now.
I think you have to at this point. You're down 24 before the half. You got 45 minutes or 45 seconds of the half. You're getting the ball to start the second half. You need to put 7 points on the board if you want any chance in this game.
Good game here as the Zone Fraser Valley sponsoring the TELUS Game of the Week on BCFC TV. I'm Warren Andrews. He's Matt Macri. By the way, you can check them out on Facebook. Zone Garage Fraser Valley. They don't just transform garages into something magical. Any space you have, give them a call or shoot them a text and find out what they can do for your space. Big second down here for the Broncos. Van Conant with Mapoyo behind him. They'll load up the Hogs up front. Huskers will do the same. Van Conant tries to charge it ahead, and it looks like he got it. Touchdown, Broncos.
Oh, he does a little body surfing to get that into the end zone. He jumps on top of his line and sticks his arms out there, because that's all he has to do is break the plane. And he does a really good job jumping on that line, breaking the plane, and holding on to that ball.
Across the line. Touchdown, Broncos.
Well, the Broncos, who have traveled well. Some fans in the stands cheering their team on. Sitting at 4-5 on the year, and they get on the board here with 44 seconds to go. That means those Josh Jansen and company have a chance to add even more points on the board.
Well, the thing you got here with this Broncos team is you got a young team, well-coached team, a new culture there in Kamloops that's going to be good for a couple of years, and we're going to watch them get better and better, and I think these battles are going to be a lot more fun to watch.
The thing with junior football, it is hard to sustain excellence. Okanagan has been maybe the best example of that in our conference. You look at the Hilltops in the Prairie Conference. It is tough to do, though, to always recruit those players that might want to go to university instead or explore other options. And the fact that both these programs are now turning around is a testament to the men running those programs.
Well, I think what you see with junior football is you get a core that plays the full 5 years together that does very, very well and helps propel you in the playoffs. But it's at a detriment to development. So you don't see the younger ranks there. So you get a good core that sticks together for 5 years, and you get success. But a year or two after the success, you have a young core again. So,
and a booming kick and a nice field there of that. And it was that Rodriguez.
Yeah. The hands of Luke Rodriguez reached into the air and yanked it out of the sky.
Cool hand, Luke.
And he got flung around pretty good there, taken down, and he's heading off the field. So I hope he's okay. Here we got Rodriguez, turns around, gets running up the field. He's running to the side, tries to get around the defender, and just in the arms of number 40 there, who is George Unger, flips him over and drops him down.
Well, there's a few fans in attendance that'll be cheering for more than just the football game. I love the fact that they're doing this. The Chilliwack Chiefs and the Huskers have really teamed up this year and made it community events. There's a Chiefs game on tonight at 6, and a couple of lucky fans will win some tickets to watch the Chiefs in action right beside the football stadium here at Exhibition Field. And you love to see that when teams come together from different sports and support each other. I know last week the Huskers were at the Chiefs game dropping the ceremonial puck.
Nice. Yeah, it's community, man. And these guys here, they play side by side, they practice side by side, they live side by side. You got to support each other.
There's a run up the middle after kind of veering towards the left. And Jawad Harb, the running back. And so you wonder if maybe Coach Reist and company would like to keep Wyke for the playoff game coming up next week and not take any chances and give Jawad Harb a chance to show what he can do in this final game.
Well, I think the push to get Wyke out there, get those yardage, get him to 1,000 yards, get this game in hand. It's over, but you also don't want him standing there for the whole second half. So you probably won't see him as much in the rest of the game, but I don't see him not playing the rest of the game.
Looks like a pickup of about 4, so that'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Like we were saying, I think it's Mom and Dad's first trip out here to watch him play live this season. And you'd hate for him to be sitting the second half of a game with Mom there on the sidelines.
Although what he's done, 2 touchdowns in the first half and probably about 100 yards.
Made it worth the price of the ticket.
I think that's all right.
Yeah.
And knowing he's not getting hurt, that might be the other benefit there.
Well, and he's going to make some noise in the playoffs. I'm really excited to see him play in the playoffs. I'm really excited to see this Huskers team. I mean, there's been some phenomenal standouts here. You know, you got Josh Jansen, James Moore, who are playing over their heads. Isaiah Latander is blocking people in the next state. Receivers Coronado, Peyton Lake, Ethan Porter, and, you know, the number 1, Luke Rodriguez, out there.
Jansen will plow his way ahead. The other thing I'm wondering, too, is do we see Tyron Duvall or Josh Cherison get some reps in the second half to keep Jansen fresh for the playoffs?
That'd be interesting. That'd be probably a fourth quarter thing. But here, I like this. Jansen, he did a little stutter step, but he's patient and following his blockers. He's been watching Reese Wyke run up the middle there, and he's, emulating Reese Wyke. And
not a bad guy to emulate.
Yeah, diving forward.
The ball at the 35-yard line, just 6 seconds to go. Huskers with the handoff. Nice play up the middle. It'll be a first down. However, there is laundry on the field.
Yeah, flag in the backfield, and it was late too, so it's going to be unfortunate if it's a holding.
That was a nice run by Harb.
Oh, it's going to be against the Broncos here. Oh, chop block. Yeah, the defensive lineman came down and hit the blockers' legs. Chop block against the Broncos. And that's going to be the end of the first half.
All right, on the TELUS Game of the Week in BCFC TV, brought to you by For the Win Media. Warren Anders and Matt Macri. Huskers lead 24-7 over the visiting Kamloops Broncos. Game brought to you by the Zone Garage, Fraser Valley. We'll be back before the beginning of the third quarter.
is weak.
Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few years, our city has been under great influential threat. This man has been preaching to our youth about wearing bright colors. He preaches about fun and individuality. He tells them it's okay to be ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you today, as your mayor, that this man will preach no more. Redfield is here to make a public apology. And with that, I will grant him a pardon for his crimes. Redfield.
I would like to apologize for having fun. And I just want to say, and I'm really trying to say, let's get ridiculous. Let's get responsible. I just think that we all need to get, my message is let's get ridiculous. Let's get ridiculous. Let's get ridiculous. Let's get ridiculous.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This man is seriously delusional.
Let's get ridiculous. Let's get ridiculous.
I just wanna let it go. Hit the playback. I know you're feeling this. Come on, baby, let's get ridiculous.
Just look.
Go for it.
All right, we're back as the third quarter getting set, and what a half for the Valley Huskers. It's Warren Andrews on the TELUS Game of the Week, BC FC TV, brought to you by the Zone Garage, Fraser Valley. And let's quickly look through the numbers, Matt. Warren Andrews and Matt Macri, by the way, with you. Huskers outrushed the Broncos 175 yards to 17. And no surprise, the Broncos had a lot of injuries to the running backs, but Reese Wyke, 19 for 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is now at 1,067 yards, and he's got another half should he play much. Receiving, Peyton Lake leading the Huskers, 3 receptions, 58 yards. They've got 127 yards in total. Jansen, 7 of 11. Sens leading the Broncos in receiving. They have 195 yards off the arm of Reed Van Conant, who is 10 of 18. Sens with 4 receptions for 55 yards. Huskers got 16 first downs to the Broncos 9 penalties. The Huskers were a little naughtier, 6 penalties for 31. Only 2 for 20 to the very disciplined Broncos. Turnovers, though, the key. 3 turnovers to the Broncos, 1 for the Huskers. This game's underway.
Well, you look at Jacob Apoyo there, gets the kick and he runs it right back up the middle. Really good job by Apoyo here. It's a rolling ball. He gets in front of it, plays shortstop there, picks up the ball cleanly, runs straight forward, past one defender, and it was the third guy in that was able to take him out at the knees.
So the Huskers, on the strength of a pair of Reese Wyke touchdowns, by the way, saw Mum watching him, and she was overjoyed, didn't know he had gotten the 1,000-yard mark, so she was absolutely thrilled as Van Conant, play action, finds his man Finden for a short gain.
The short passes to Finden are working out for him. Finden's got a sure-handed catching these short passes, but it was number 24 Rolak and number 4 Jaden Klassen were there to close in on him quickly and make sure he didn't go too much further than the 5-yard pickup.
So after a few misconnections early on, Finden's reeled in the last couple that have come his way. Van Conant throws that over to another pair of sure hands and Colton Meikle.
Great.
That might be a yard shy.
Great catch by Meikle, and I think forward progress got some past the first down marker here. Great stop by the Huskers, but there's Meikle, steps forward and then gets wrapped up and driven backwards. For not too much of a gain, but enough to get the first down.
Receive from Broncos, first down by number 17, Colton Meikle.
So that will put Reed Van Conant at over 200 yards passing on the afternoon. This time they'll go to Mapoyo on the ground. Picks up a hard 3, maybe 4 yards.
Yeah, it's tough running against this big D-line of the Huskers, but Mapoyo does a good job here. Hits the line hard and moves a few bodies. Doesn't get too far, but you got those big bodies in the middle there. Led by number 91, Nathan Fournette. He's just a wall. To try to get around him is impossible.
You think about what the Huskers have done this year. 2 of the losses, yeah, they've been a little lopsided, but in those games they've played very well. It was a nice pitch and catch there, and Meikle grabbed up from his ankles, and a huge first down.
It's funny too because he goes down here and the defender's trying to get over, but Meikle keeps rolling, and a little bit of a confusion there. He catches it, he goes tackle, and then Henneberry takes him down, and then just can't seem to get over top of him because Meikle keeps rolling.
And unfortunately for Meikle, that'll be wiped out by an offside. And
second down.
Oh, see, I saw the flag, I saw the jump, but I thought it was on the defender. So that's going to go back 5 yards and repeat second down.
How many college scouts are absolutely drooling, though, at the prospects of a 17-year-old 6'5" receiver that can run very quick, 2 years of junior football under his belt. I mean, unlike a lot of players his age that are very good high school players, he's been playing against men.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Not kids. He's playing against men, and that's a little closer to the college game.
100%, and that's the thing, that he's got this experience. He's 2 years under his belt, that he's going to be well looked at when it comes to the university.
Leads the Broncos in receiving touchdowns to 6 as the Huskers will add to their sack total. James Moore.
And there's number 7, James Moore, getting into the backfield, mixing things up with Ben Conant, and a little celebration roll there from him. Somersault.
5.5 sacks for Moore on the season, and Mr. Reliable. Every year that James Moore has been in the lineup, you know you're going to get at least a handful of sacks out of him and relenting pressure.
Well, the beautiful thing about him is you watch his burst off the line. He keeps the arms moving, so the defender doesn't know where they're going to get, where those clubs are coming at to try and get around him.
Broncos will punt that away as Rolak will field that at his 35. Looks one way and then heads to the left and then runs into a wall of white and navy. Flag comes down, though, as the little skirmish between 19 of the Broncos. It's Brock Dufour and 21. Logan Gretzitz, as Gretzitz was down on the turf, and Dufour was kind of giving him the what for down.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a little bit of frustration out there or whatnot. But you've watched the special teams. You've been seeing these two battle all day long. They've been going back and forth in a good fight. Aggressiv's ended up on the bottom end of that one, but we got a lot of game left to play. And the penalty is going to go against the Huskers.
Interesting. Of course, there are a number of things going on.
So let's see if we can see what happens here. So here's the kick there. And I don't really see too much going on yet. No. Oh, that's the hold there. So it wasn't the aggressive play that was the hold. It was over off to the side.
The Huskers will start at their own 36-yard line. They'll go with the starting lineup. Jansen and Wyke remain in there. Hand off to Reese Wyke, trying to round around the defender. Gang tackle taken down. Good play by the Broncos. Pursuit by Scott Polzer. Number 2 made that happen.
Well, it's number 16, Maurice here. He gets into the backfield and gets a hold of that jersey and just doesn't let go. He does a really good job of holding up Wyke, who's got power. He's got great leg power, but Maurice is able to swing him around and take him down.
Well, they'll give a generous 1 yard on the play. They'll bring up 2nd and 9. Jansen empties out the backfield. Looks right down the middle. He's got the man open, and he had too much lead in the gun there as he overthrew the intended target. And Rodriguez had visions of dancing in the end zone that won't come to fruition.
Well, I think they both saw it. I mean, Rodriguez saw that he had the lane, and Jansen saw that he had the lane, so he wanted to put it out there where Rodriguez could catch it, but he just went a little bit too hard on it, and Rodriguez couldn't catch up to it, which would have been beautiful because there was no one around him. That would have been nothing but net on that one.
So Huskers set to punt, and I think it had been quite a while in between. Maybe the first play of the game, they went 3 and out, and this one 3 and out. But most of the drives have been sustained to the tune of 5 to 10 plays. They've done a nice job of managing the clock.
Yeah, and they've been able to push the ball down the field quite regularly here. But, I mean, you're also not pushing it here. You got a 17-point lead. You don't want to push too hard and make turnovers or make mistakes at this point.
Following this afternoon's contest.
Listening to Ian Wilson, the PA announcer, and once again the BC Lions, especially under the new ownership, have really stepped up to support junior football, and the player of the game in this game is going to get a pair of tickets donated by Maurice Sales of the Lions, one of the players. Let's hope it's not on the same day as the playoff game. Sorry, coach, can't play. Go to watch some football. And Sands now could not get around the outstretched arms of number 34, Nicholas Calder-Johnson.
Well, Calder-Johnson does a good job getting to the outside edge. We've seen Sen's speed, and here he picks it up on the roll, and he gets to the outside, and he's starting to turn it up, and he could be gone here, but Calder-Johnson gets over quick enough. He eliminates the cutback. I love the way he plays the inside hip here. He's giving Sens nowhere to go but out of bounds. It's a beautiful job by Calder-Johnson.
I love the fact that Sens went to do the stiff arm and Calder-Johnson swatted away like a fly and then continued to manhandle him.
Well, we've seen the speed of Sens. I mean, he's quick. Calder-Johnson knew he had to keep that inside hip and force him to the outside. And there's Morin Van Conant one-on-one again.
And there's a pass under pressure out of the reach of Sens as Van Conant was being hunted by three men in dark and green jerseys.
Well, and Van Conant and Moore were teammates for a season, too. So they both know what each other can do. And here you see Moore does a great job of getting out there, doesn't attack and give him an out, but stays with him and rides him across the field and forces him to make a throw he doesn't want to make. And in the end, couldn't make.
I got to tell you, top to bottom, I've been very impressed with the quarterbacking play of the BCFC as a whole.
Yes,
every
very
team's
much.
got a really good gunslinger. You don't see that every year. Van Conant throws that up, bounces off of a pair of Huskers as I'm doling out the praise. And that one will go incomplete, and I think he will breathe a sigh of relief for that incompletion, looking for number 19, Brock Dufour.
Yeah, and it's funny. Zeke Rolak here, he's the player, gets it, steps in front, jumps up, and it goes off his hands, but then it hits Chavez Spencer, and it bounces up in the air, and he couldn't see where the rebound off his forehead went.
Like our cameraman got a little foggy from that bouncing ball.
Everybody's a little dizzy looking at that.
They'll bring up 3rd and 10. Van Conant, 3 receivers each side, throws it over the middle, looking for his man, and that one patted down like a person working at the airport looking for something that you shouldn't be bringing in. Jaden Clausen.
Channeling in his inner Derwin James here. This is beautiful. There's the throw, and it's going to be caught. And Jaden Clausen says, "No, sir, you cannot have that ball." Just a little smack tap down on the ground.
And Ofusuheni came in and lowered the boom at the same time, too. So, little
insult to injury there. And then we got someone down on the field, and this is having some trouble getting back up. I'm not sure what happened there.
It almost looks like he's cramping a little bit.
Very well could be. Go for that over sprained ankle or anything like that. It's good to see Captain James Moore over there supporting his teammate. Latander over there too. Help out however he can.
Two guys, absolute beauties. I've done interviews with them a couple of years in a row to begin the season. And great interviews for very different reasons.
So that's Ofosuheni, who is involved in the hit there. And I wonder if maybe he twisted an ankle or whatnot in the collision.
They will want number 30 in the lineup for the playoff game against the West Shore Rebels. And that's where the concern kind of comes in. You want your guys to keep playing, but at the same time, you don't want them nicked up or injured for the playoff game where it really, really matters.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, this game is far from over. It's Canadian football. 24-7, though. Jansen throws that over the middle. He's got his man. And a great reception there. Cool hand, Luke.
There we go. Luke makes up for it for the last one. Couldn't get to the last one, but he wasn't dropping this one. Beautiful throw by Jansen, just on a rope. And Rodriguez catches it in stride, steps around a couple of defenders, picks up another 10 yards before he's finally taken down by number 25, Michael Kalum.
25-yard reception. Trying to remember the great Huskers receiver we had a few years ago who was small, but so good. He was an all-star, too.
Oh, I remember who you're talking about, too. Yeah.
Rodriguez has shades of his game.
Yes.
Fearless. He goes over the middle. He's got great quickness. Might be a little undersized, but boy, he plays with the heart of a lion.
Well, and it's going to be fun to watch Rodriguez. He's a young player, too, right? I mean, I think it's only his second, maybe third year. But he's good. I think he's going to do a great job over the years of growing his game, and he's going to be one of those guys that you depend on. It's funny. Funny you talk about Moore and Latander there being really nice guys in interviews and whatnot. I actually had the opportunity this year. I hired DBM Moving and Storage to come for an office move, and they worked there. And I recognized them, and we were able to talk football.
Nice.
Yeah, and they're just both really hard workers, nice guys. Love the sport.
And with big boys like that, they can move the heavy thing without a dolly.
I didn't have to lift a thing. I just got to stand there and watch them do it.
So
nice run by Jansen.
Yeah, Huskers look like third and short now after a good run by the quarterback.
Well, Jansen had nowhere to go, so he just tucks it in and takes off for a run himself. And, almost picks up a first down.
It's an element of his game he doesn't go too often, but he's usually very successful when he does. And, I mean, as a guy that was the top male athlete in his high school, he's more than just a quarterback.
For sure. I mean, he does a really, really, really good job here. And I think that's going to be everybody's throwing a flag now.
It's like that Spider-Man meme where everyone points at each other. He did it. No, he did it.
Jansen does a really good job of going through his options. This is what I've always liked about Jansen, is that he doesn't focus in one area. He's not one-dimensional. He does a really good job of going through his reads, and he goes for the best option always. And the best option was for him to run it. If it's the best option for him to throw it, he throws it. But he always.
So it was the Huskers that flinched first, and that'll be a penalty against them. 7.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and first half went by like a breeze, and it seems like this third quarter is kind of slowed down a little bit here.
Yeah.
Huskers up 24-7 in a game they need to win in order to have a chance at hosting a playoff game. If West Shore can lose and they win, they will take second. Jansen now will empty out the backfield. Reese Wyke up to block. Pressure now from the Broncos. Jansen, good job. Waited for the blocking to settle. Waited for his receivers to get open, and they'll get the first down.
Yeah, and it was number 17, Ethan Porter, coming across the middle. And you get in a situation like that, you just got to run around and get open. Yeah, I mean, you're covered. Your quarterback doesn't have anywhere to throw the ball, so get open. And Porter does a good job getting some separation from his defender, getting the ball, catching it, loses it on the ground, but able to reel it back in. And it looked like the ground caused the fumble.
So number 17 takes the helmet off. 17 went for 17 yards. I hope he's okay. And another warm day here in the Valley.
It's very hot. It's weird for Thanksgiving weekend to be this warm, let me tell you.
There is a slight breeze blowing from the Huskers end towards the Broncos end, so help the quarterbacking a little bit, and also the leg of Saunders should he need it. And Wyke so good at getting back, and the exchange not so good, but he was able to pounce on that and keep it in Husker possession with 6.5 minutes to go as the clock continues to march in the third quarter.
And I think it was Jansen actually didn't even have a handle on that. If you see the replay there, the snap came out. Jansen meant to catch the snap and spin it into Wyke's belly, but it bounced off his hands and almost got into Wyke's belly. He just wasn't able to catch the bounce.
They will lose 5 yards on that ill-timed exchange. That'll bring up second and long. 3 receivers each side.
Oh.
Jansen had the right idea going over the middle again. The pass was short. And that'll bring up third down. And Saunders and company should be coming out for this one.
Well, you see on this one here, he throws it, and he's got Rodriguez short and Halsey. Was it Halsey?
Don't forget football.
Yeah, Halsey deep, and it kind of bounces in the middle. Like it was like he couldn't decide which one he wanted to get it to.
The TELUS Game of the Week on Channel 1999, BCFC TV, brought to you by the Zone Garage, Fraser Valley. Find them on Facebook. Warren Anders with Matt Macri. Huskers comfortably in front by 17 points. About to kick the ball away as Saunders sits back at the 45-yard line of the Broncos. They'll fake it. They're going to go long. They got the man open. He's got it. Bob Reese is always good for a couple of trick plays every game.
We got a
nice one there.
Flag after the play here. I'm not sure what this is, but this was beautiful. Yeah, this was a beautiful play. Travis Spencer is the recipient of the pass here. I didn't even see who made the throw. But they've got a late flag came in. I'm not sure what it's going to be.
And it was procedure against the Huskers. Wiped out a beautiful play.
That's kind of a weird procedure call.
Was for a false start. Assist to the Valley Huskers.
That flag.
Well executed, though, Matt.
Very well executed. But you watch this as it happens. And maybe an offside.
I think it was Spencer. That's how he got down so
released
fast.
so quick. Yeah.
Kind of snuck out a little before the gun went off.
But the play ended and then the flag came out. That's what kind of shocks me. But
Little birdie whispering in the ear.
yeah, maybe. It may have been something they were just going to let go. But then
I think coach is echoing your sentiments. He's not pleased with the late flag.
yeah.
If it comes out right away. And now's that a penalty against Bob Reist.
Yeah.
So is that 15 yards, objectionable conduct?
Yeah. So, pretty sure they're going to punt now because it's going to be third and about 40 yards. But I think it's not so much that there was a penalty there or whether it was a penalty, it was the lateness of the flag, and it looked like it was something that happened after the play. And that's where the frustration is going to come out on Coach Reist's part. And he's right to stick up for his players, for himself, for the team in that situation because those calls should be immediate.
So Saunders now will set up at about the 50-yard line inside of his own half. Sends back to field this. Saunders takes the snap, almost blocked. Great kick by Saunders. He's going to send him back inside of his own end zone. Sends now wondering, should I try to get out? And I think he's going to... Is he going to go down for the Rouge? I just see... Number 27 of the Huskers, Junior Munyaka, is absolutely treating a member of the Broncos like he's his own personal punching bag. Every time he tried to get up, he kept knocking him back down. Referee said, play on.
Keep your blocks. You gotta hold your blocks.
Keep your blocks.
Hold your blocks.
That was a painful reminder. You just see it down here. Every time he tried to get up, push him back down.
But it wasn't until Sens had nowhere to go. But if in that situation, you're going to give up, but he dropped to the knee. He kind of slowly lowers to the knee like he was trying to trick somebody, and he got absolutely hammered on the end there. Yeah.
It was like witnessing a street beating.
Yeah, 100%.
Right in the side there. All is said and down. Huskers will pick up
they got some points on the drive. They got some points on that drive. That's all that matters.
And added a few bruises to the opposition. So Van Conant and company back to work here. This will be Reed Van Conant's final junior football game. Nice hole opens up. And the Broncos Sens uses his speed wisely up the middle, picks up the first down, and then some.
And I love Sen's speed here. He comes across on the jet, right into his belly, bursts through the hole, makes a move, makes a defender miss, and then he runs square into Jane Clausen. And you're not going to win that battle too often. Clausen, he keeps his low center of gravity, so strong upper body, and just works him to the ground.
Van Conant now screen. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Back out to Sens. Trying to work his way around and once again mauled by the Husker defenders.
Well, it was Badke this time on the tackle, and he had to wrestle him down. He didn't do the definitive stop like Klassen does, but he's able to get him to the ground nonetheless. Sens does a great move here, steps inside, goes to come outside, and it's Badke who came off a block to make that tackle.
Second and short, and Sens, slippery like he bathed in margarine, makes his way for the first down and a few extra yards all the way up to the 45-yard line inside Huskers territory.
Caleb Sens.
You like seeing the success this young man's having. He's done so well with every aspect that he's played today. Running back shouldn't be any different. I mean, he does a good job moving inside, outside, picking up some positive yards, getting a first down.
3 minutes, 15 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Van Conant quickly throws that, finds his man. Dufour won't have much luck, though, as he is wrapped up by Christopher Rolak. And then a late flag, a little undisciplined by the Huskers, and that'll give the Broncos a first down.
24, Christopher Rolak.
Yeah, but the problem here is, Rolak makes the stop and he's pushing them backwards, and you get some yapping from Dufour there. So Klassen comes in to put an end to it, and he ends up getting the penalty, giving the first down and moving downfield. There's a pass. Dufour catches it. Rolak makes the stop right away, and he wrestles him backwards. And then Dufour here wants to grab the shirt and tug a little bit, and then it's the retaliation that gets called every time.
That's the way it is in any sport.
Yeah.
Not who instigated, who finished it. Van Conant now looks over to his left, finds Sens. Sens slips around one tackle, but met as soon as he Houdini'd his way out of that last one.
Bentley Thomas finishes it off there quite nicely. A nice little pass down to Sens, and catches it, steps around the defender here. He can't bring him down, but Bentley Thomas is waiting there to clean it up.
7 receptions for Sens, as the Broncos looking to add to their score line, down 25-7. Van Conant from the 20. Over the middle, Meikle shirks off a tackler. Oh my goodness. Finally brought down. That looked like a mini Gronk play.
Oh. Great job. He just, as the tackler hits him, he just spins and sends him flying with their own body weight here. Defender comes in, and it's Klassen, and Meikle's able to just turn with it and let him go.
That's fun to watch. No matter who you're cheering for, you see a play like that, that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Broncos in the red zone now, inside the 10. Over the middle again, and this time the Huskers will not be fooled, and a suplex from Klassen. Make sure he's not going anywhere.
Meikle was able to shrug him off the first play. The second play, Klassen was making sure that wasn't happening a second time. Klassen steps into it with big arms and wraps him up, not just on the one side, but the whole body.
5 receptions for Meikle. Broncos inch a little bit closer now as they are sitting on the 4-yard line. Second down. Huskers defense look to rally here. They'll load 4 upside. Sends into the end zone. Touchdown Broncos.
This is a pretty play. Really pretty play. Great execution by Sens and Van Conant here. Because you watch on the replay here, Sens comes across, he's going down like he's going to go that way, turns, hangs a quick left, comes across, Van Conant hands it to him, but runs like he's rolling out. And I don't think anybody really sensed that Sens had the ball until he was already into the end zone.
8-play drive for the touchdown. 5 of those plays went to number 88.
Yeah.
And he remains out there to the delay of game.
Too many men. Yeah, number 17, Meikle's trying to get off the field, but they had already broken and gotten into formation, and he was still there. So,
just under a minute to go here in the third quarter, and just like that, the Broncos have made a game of it. Down 25-13 with the point after attempt to come here. Still a bit of a chip shot. Kick is up, number 29, Cohen Freeze. That's a solid name. Kicks that through, and now it's 25-14. So all of a sudden, it's an 11-point game, 2 scores.
It's not tough. I mean, for the game to change that quickly. I don't know if you watched the Dolphins and the Ravens a few weeks back, but there was like 6 touchdowns in the.
I'm a Dolphins fan, so the answer is yes.
6 scores in the fourth quarter alone. So that's crazy that how fast this can turn around. The Huskers, this is why you can't take your foot off the gas, even if it is, you're already in the playoffs. You need this win. If you want a shot at second, you need this win. You want to be ready for the playoffs. Keep your foot on the gas and keep competing.
You don't want to have to fight that ferry traffic to make your way over to the island, to that inhospitable Starlight Stadium where the Rebels have been so good.
Yeah.
Almost knocked off the Sun at home, lost by a point, I believe it was. So it's not a fun place to play, as the Huskers found out earlier this year. Freeze set to kick off. Booms that one in between Coronado and Rolak. Rolak scoops up deep inside of his zone, waits for a few blocks, fumbles the ball. Huskers very fortunate. We'll gather that up as number 14, Brant Davies, with a nice recovery.
Well, number 40 for the Broncos, Unger there, had an opportunity, but he was looking to make the tackle when Rolak fumbled the ball. So here Rolak gets it. He does a good job of sitting the ball down here. He stops it, turns around, picks it up, heads upfield, but he's carrying it one hand and he drops it as he goes to put it away. And number 40, if he had saw the ball on the ground, he could have dropped on it, but instead he makes a tackle on Rolak because you expect him to have the ball put away at that point.
Congrats to Rolak, too, who won the Defensive Player of the Week for the BCFC, adding to his Special Teams Player of the Week honor he got earlier in the year. There's a run by White. Loses the lid so he can show off that face.
Yeah. Hey, White here, once again, just giving a lesson in patience. I love the way this young man runs with his blockers. So he gets the ball, heads the outside, and he stays behind his blockers and lets them lead the way. Number 44, Bosk, is able to make the tackle from behind. We've seen Bosk do that all day long, though. He does a great job of getting in and around the play and chasing it down from the backside.
As Duval is in, takes a snap, looks for a hole, weasels his way ahead, just short of the first down. By the way, that last run by White puts him at 150 yards on the day.
Nice, good job. I think we're going to be short about a yard here for Duval.
Good run again, though, by Tyron as he came in and the defense of the Broncos did a great job of getting around the blockers, and really he had to earn those yards on his own.
Yeah, he does a really good job with that. Fights hard, gets moving up there. At this point, because they're down to their own 40-yard line, they're going to punt. But they got to do something where they're not keep hitting these 3 and outs.
Big thanks to the Zone Garage, Fraser Valley. Find them on Facebook and one of the sponsors here of the TELUS Game of the Week in the BCFC, also broadcast on BCFCTV.com. He's Matt Macri on color. I'm Warren Andrews. We have the pleasure of doing games. I think I counted 6 years now.
Yeah, it's been about 6 years now. It's been a lot of fun.
And with For the Win Media, AJ controlling things, conducting things like a young. Is Beethoven a conductor? Great crew on, though, along with Travis and Kylie, Jacob, bringing you all the visuals, getting you as close to the action as you can without getting hit. Once again, I want to give a quick little plug out to the show that more people need to watch, Crown Countdown U. If you're a fan of Canadian football, you want to see what Canadians are doing in the NCAA or at the U Sport level, a lot of these guys make their way to both of those places. Check out Crown Countdown U. Jim Mullen, Gord Randall, Mike Hogan, fantastic job. Good play by Duval, followed that lead block and gets the first down.
Wow, and I honestly thought they were going to punt it. I really did. This was a great decision, and it worked out. And I think it might have been White that was there.
Wow.
I don't see Duval on the field.
You're right.
He's coming out now. So, yeah, it was White there. And Duval's going in at quarterback, it looks like.
I like this move. Jansen's had a great day. Keep him fresh for the playoffs. Get Duval some reps should you need him for the playoffs. And he's coming off that injury. You kind of worked him in slowly, but now let him go for the fourth quarter. And he's got a great safety valve in Wyke, looking like Barry Sanders, stopping on a dime one way head and the other. There's a flag on the field, though.
I think it's going to be an offside on the Broncos. It looked like they jumped on the far side. Oh, no, he's pointing to the Huskers. Yeah, so it's going to be a false start on the Huskers, and they'll go back 5 yards.
Awfully nice to know, though, if you're coming in as a quarterback, you've got number one there you can hand the ball off to, and he's going to chew up some big yards each and every time.
Well, and now he's heading back off the field, and Josh has come back in.
Maybe only in certain situations, or maybe they're going to offset them. I have no idea.
Yeah. It's good to get involved some play time. Because you want to have that depth, especially heading into the playoffs here.
Well, and Jansen and White's such competitors, they want to play to the final whistle.
Yes. Yeah.
Empty backfield now. Jansen looks left. He's throwing it long. And they're saying no pass interference. They're saying good defensive play by the Broncos. And Porter not too keen on that non-call.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait to see the replay before I say anything here. We got Jansen drops back, throws the ball up, and you got Porter trying to come back to the ball. The defender's turns around there at the last minute and then gets his hand on it. So
a hand checking by both going down the field.
And really, when you look at it in the replay there wasn't a lot of the hand checking, not a lot of contact, no holds or anything. The ball was short. Porter needed to come back. The defender did get turned around and touch the ball. That's a good non-call.
Still 13 and a half minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Huskers in front 25-13. High snap, Saunders wise to get that out. May have been tipped on the way, as they'll be very close to where they were scrimmaging from.
Definitely looked like some contact there, and then it goes shooting off to the left. Here we get Saunders, who's usually got a big boot, good directional kicking, high snap, which throws him off to begin with, and then, yes, that did. And number 27, I think, that came across there and got his hand on the ball.
There's no 27. I think it was 20. There's no 27. Nolan Marsden Beck, a defensive back.
Yeah. Really good job. Because of that high snap, it threw off his timing, and that gave the defender an extra half second to get in there and just get a finger on the ball.
Steady dose of Sens and Mikkel last time, and pass intended for Findon, not reeled in. That brings up second down.
Well, Findon, he had trouble with those two long passes to start, but has been sure-handed on the short stuff since. And here he gets the pass, goes to pull it in, and as he puts it away, he throws it between his legs. He actually got the ball, brought it down, and as he went to tuck it away, it just lost control.
Van Konit's 8 for 12 in this half. And an empty backfield means he's going to the air again unless he uses his legs. Throws that to avoid the hit and throws that a little short.
Wow. I'd have thrown it away too if I saw James Moore coming in like that. Unblocked. Coming right at him. James Moore coming off the side. Hits the offensive lineman. Throws him off and then comes downhill. And Van Konit saw him coming. All he sees is that big number 7 coming out of his face.
Moore did not wait for the invitation to come inside the door.
No.
He rushed it. And Van Konit had to be quick to get rid of that to avoid the sack. Moore with a sack already today.
It's more of the mauling that Moore would have given him too, because he was coming in there hard.
That should have been the nickname for James, is No More. Hard snap count. Over the middle. Tipped and intercepted. We'll see if this is going to stand. It's Samuel Henneberry if it does.
It'll be very interesting because it was.
Flags on the field, but nonetheless.
It looked like the end on the near side stepped across, but I'm wondering if there was movement on the other side to make him step across. I think it's going to be against the Huskers. The offense for the Broncos is staying out there, so it's going to be against the Huskers.
So Broncos will breathe a little sigh of relief. Yeah, he threw that into the mob. Huskers came away with it.
Henneberry was the beneficiary of the bouncing ball. It hit about 3 or 4 different people, bounced through the air, and ended up in Henneberry's hands.
Repeat of third down.
Henneberry does have 1 interception on the year. Would have loved to double that total. However, we'll have to try to do it on this play. As Van Conant back to the air, steps back, good pressure by the Huskers. Sends. Stabbing his way ahead. Picks up the first down. Ball placed at about the 40-yard line of the Huskers.
Well, Sens is really quick, and he does a good job of making people miss. So right here, he makes the first defender miss, steps around him, makes the second defender miss, steps around him, but he's taking too much time now. Now the third defender's coming in quick and hard, and it was one of the Kelly boys there, Darius Kelly, number 42, that just says enough and takes him down.
There have been some bone-crushing hits. Van Conant fakes, pursued by Moore again. Makes his way over to the right. Throws a nice play there, and that one caught.
Brings it in.
Number 87, Thomas Jeeves with the reception.
Well, beautiful job. I mean, you got Van Conant's running from Moore here, got around that outside edge really quick again, and they'll fake pump there, and he holds onto the ball. Moore gets around the blocker, and Van Conant knows now that he can't do anything. And there's the other Kelly chasing him as well, and he's just got to get rid of the ball.
Broncos offense has been successful when it's been very quick passes over the middle. I know they have gone deep a few times, but overall they've really nickel and dimed their way on timing plays, and they'll look to continue that. And once again, another quick pass. Van Conant finds Meikle.
Yeah, really good job by Meikle and Van Conant here. Great timing. You got to love the timing that these guys have, the chemistry that they have together, because Van Conant has the ball thrown to Meikle's back shoulder before Meikle's even turned around. And it's just great timing, great confidence, and it's working out for this pair right now.
6 receptions for Meikle. Van Conant and the Broncos offense remain on the field. Third down, though, and about 2. Jet sweep. Sends. Oh, he might have more than a first down. Trying to wound his way around the edge and then decides to preserve his body a little bit and heads out. And Broncos first down.
Well, it's a smart play by Henneberry and Badkey here, because they know the speed of Sens, so they keep making him run to the outside and then shut off anywhere on the outside. And you see Henneberry's just on that inside hip of his, making sure he can't cut back into the middle and take it any further. Badkey escorts him out of bounds.
3 receivers to each side as Van Conant takes a high snap and throws a screen outside. Sends. Dragged down at the last minute. He has been slippery today, though, as number 88.
His speed is good. He's sure hands. He does a great job. He always makes one tackler miss. Here he takes the ball. He's able to step around the blocker. Claridge holds on to his shirt and slows him down, and then Badkey comes in and cleans him up.
9 receptions now for Sens. Good afternoon for him. He does have the 1 rushing touchdown. Second and long. Good play by Van Conant. Stepped around the defensive line, stays on its feet, and heads out of bounds.
Well, it's a smart play here because he sees that Moore gets upfield fast, so he just runs. And if Vancona does a really smart thing here. He sees Moore comes up, so he steps back into the hole that Moore just emptied and gets up the field. And as the defenders who are in coverage are trying to get turned around and get over there to tackle him, he's able to move it all the way up to about the 4-yard line.
This will be the 9th play of this drive. Broncos have really looked confident, especially in this fourth quarter, trying to make a game of this here, and if they can punch this in, all of a sudden, boy, do we ever have a football game. There's a member of the Huskers down close to the Broncos bench. Not sure if it's a leg issue or a cramping issue.
Well, with this heat and humidity, cramping wouldn't be unrealistic.
Don't forget 2 other games on the slate for the BCFC. The big one, the one that matters to the Huskers fans the most, is the West Shore Rebels against the Vancouver Island Raiders. The other game, Okanagan Sun looking to go to 10-0 on the season as they will host the Prince George Kodiaks. And Kodiaks would love to end their season by absolutely stunning the hands-on favorites to win the league.
Well, it's number 42, Darius Kelly, being helped off. And this is a huge hit to the Huskers. Darius Kelly plays the opposite end of James Moore at defensive end there. And he does such a great job of shoring up the other side. It's a huge hit to him, or to the team, for him to be out.
Van Konitz looked very confident here in the second half and keeps his team inside the end zone, inside the 10. Huskers looking to stop up the Broncos. 1st and goal, hand up, sends to the end zone. Touchdown Broncos. Second touchdown of the second half for number 88.
Caleb Sens, touchdown Broncos.
Well, the Broncos are getting excited here because, they put up 21 points to the Huskers 1 in this half. And you'd really like to see the Huskers get out here on offense and do some positive things here, eat up time, and maybe put another score on the board to keep this out of hand.
You have to wonder if deep in the recesses of the Huskers' minds that they had their foot on the gas, really taking it to them in the first half, and then thought in the second half, well, let's slow things down a little bit here. Let's just get out of Dodge with the win. Well, I think the Broncos have not come to play that game.
And no, and I don't think it's so much that, because on offense they haven't connected. I mean, it hasn't been so much anything the Broncos have done, but on the defensive side of the ball, the Broncos have found something that works with Sens, and they just keep going to it.
Well, they go for the 2-point convert, and the referee signals it's good. It was the little lunge at the end for Colton Miko.
The convert is successful. Muscling his way in, number 17.
It's a 3-point football game, Matt Macri. 9:06 to go. Much like last week where we thought game's pretty much over.
There's lots of time left here. You see the stop here, and then he just breaks the plane and gets that 2-point convert there to put it within a field goal. I mean, field goal ties it up. And the Huskers here have to recognize that they need to get some points on the board here. They need to stretch that gap and put this game away right now.
Well, one of their top receivers, Dylan Minocha, they're kind of trying to rest him and get him ready for the playoffs. He's not an official scratch, unlike Dag Mora. So it's been up to Rodriguez. But boy, Caleb Sens might be the best receiver on the field today. And he's done it running. He's done it receiving. Meikle's been outstanding for the Broncos, too. A team that really had no running game coming into this have kind of MacGyvered their way back to within 3 points of the Huskers. As a football fan, you want an exciting game. You always want your team to win, but you want an exciting game, and you got an exciting finish. Huskers, Coronado emphatically spikes the ball after a nice return.
Well, I think he's a little frustrated because he saw the daylight. He saw the daylight, and someone took his feet out from underneath him. You watch him here. He does a good job getting behind the ball, playing the ball.
Our winning number for this afternoon's
Heads up field.
number 173.
It was a 25-yard return.
Yeah, really good. And then that ankle right there, he throws it down.
If you are a winner, come on down and check your ticket.
Is that Reese White's mom?
Of $583.
Well, $583 for the 50-50, not too shabby.
Is it Reese White's mom?
I think that is Reese White's mom. Nice reception, Huskers.
Halsey.
Halsey.
A beautiful pass and catch here for Halsey. Sorry, we're watching the winner of the 50-50 here, mostly because my tickets didn't win. And the play happens, and here we go. Josh Jansen to Halsey, high up there. Halsey goes up, picks it up, brings it down, tackled right away by number 2, Scott Polzer. But that's enough for a first down, move the sticks. And here, like I said, the Huskers got to make something happen, and they've getting it started right away.
19-yard reception by Halsey. Jansen flanked by White, hands the ball off to him. Not much going on there. Tough sledding. He will march ahead. I think they'll give him maybe 4 on the play.
Yeah, it's going to be a good 4-yard pickup there. He's patient, follows his blockers, does a really good job. I've been talking about his patience all day because it's really good. And here,
Congratulations.
here's the snap, the handoff, and just some patience to let the block develop. But it's number 5. Who's Avery Dunster is able to get around the backside of the play and get his hands on him and wrestle him down.
Last 4 rushes for Reese White. He's only gotten a maximum of 2 yards. Play action over the middle. Jansen finds some sure hands there. Number 80, Peyton Lake, picks up the first down.
Well, and this is what we didn't see in the third quarter is this confidence, this execution, where it's just a matter of it's there. It's really starting to show now. I don't think the Huskers thought that the Broncos were going to pull within 3, and now they've realized we've got to get to work. And it's nice that they can get back up like this. A lot of times when football teams go back on their heels, it's hard to get going again. And I think the Huskers are showing here that they can get going again.
12-yard reception for Lake. Flag flies, though. We may have a holding call, and Reese White with a good run. Another flag at the end of the play.
Yeah, they're saying hold on the Huskers right there. It's coming back. It happened right away, and you hate seeing that happen. Especially when I just finished saying that, they're getting a drive going with efficiency.
It's the broadcasting jinx. After I congratulated quarterbacks, he almost throws an interception. It's just the way it works.
Yep.
Even though we, in all honesty, have no input into the outcome of the game. It's just a matter of how it seems to happen.
It's just the universe trying to make us look silly. Look, I already admitted once today I was wrong.
Exactly. What more do you want? So TELUS Game of the Week on Channel 1999 for TELUS Optic subscribers. Brought to you by The Zone Garage, Fraser Valley. Find them on Facebook. Warren Andrews with Matt Macri. Huskers up by 3. After that penalty pushed back into their own half. Jansen now will make the pass, and not quite enough for the first down, but a good scamper nonetheless of about 8, maybe 9 yards.
But he does a good job there, realizing nothing was coming. But the beauty here is the block of Isaiah Latander on the near side. As he gets the ball, he drops back, and there's someone coming there. Latander's like, no, you just stay there. And then I'm just going to lay on you and make sure you don't go anywhere.
There are weighted blankets, and then there's Isaiah Latander. Huskers fans trying to urge him on. A good crowd here at Exhibition Field. Under 6 minutes to go. Fourth quarter, 25-22 Huskers lead. Jansen steps back with pressure from the Broncos. Throws that up high. And the Broncos had 2 defenders in the vicinity, and that jump ball will be swatted to the turf.
Well, it's number 88, Reese Morrison, who's one of the taller receivers on the Huskers side, and he's got great leaping ability, and he does a really good job of going up here. There's just too many other hands in there for him to bring it in. Jansen sees it. He knows he's double covered, but he's like, all right, we're going to give you a chance to go fight for it, Reese, and Reese almost brings it in, but there's just too many bodies on him there.
It was Ritchie and Marsden Beck, the two defenders for the Broncos, that broke up that play. That'll force the Huskers to punt the ball. I wonder how much the game would have changed if that trick play had been able to stand. Looked like the Broncos were offside, and
that's going to be a big offside for the Broncos.
That's going to be a first down for the Huskers.
No. They're third and 11 right now.
Oh, third and 11. Sorry, I didn't see the other.
But it might change the thinking of Coach Reese, because you're not trying for 11 yards now. You're trying for 6. So we may not see another kick. We may see the offense come back out onto the field.
How much do you trust the leg of Saunders if you want to pick up another 3, or is that a little too much to ask for?
I would trust it. I'm not sure everybody else would. I'm a big fan of Aiden Saunders, so I'd line it up, let him take a shot at it. But no, I think the offense is going to come out on the field.
Coach Matt Macri makes the call. 5:25 to go. Huskers clinging to a 3-point lead in the game, where they led, it was 22-7, I think, at one point. Jansen now in a big third down, 3rd and 3. He's going for the gusto. He's got his man open. He's caught it. First down and corralled down at the 10-yard line. What a gutsy call by the offensive coordinator, Blair Atkinson.
And I think that's Coronado there on the far side. Yes, it is. Coronado. And Jansen sees it right away that he's got nobody on him. They recover a little later and come back after him, but he's wide open. We call him 7-Eleven right there. He fumbles it, messes with it a little bit, but he's able to bring it in, and then he's getting taken down to the ground there.
Well, 32 yards on that play, one of the bigger ones for the Huskers today.
That was a pretty big defensive breakdown by the Broncos there. They let him run free, and Jansen saw it right away.
There's a give to Wyke. Steps around one, slips down low. Inside the 5, he'll go.
The patience and the vision of Wyke right there. That was a really nice run. He's coming downhill. He sees the door close right here. Sees it close there. Steps to his side and then through the other door. Beautiful job. Beautiful vision.
That ball will be placed at about the 4.5-yard line down. This is a big drive for the Huskers, trying to stymie what the Broncos have built. Broncos have scored touchdowns on their last 2 possessions, and they've been extended drives both times. Jansen looking, feels the pressure. He's holding on to it himself, plunging ahead. Close.
It's close.
Are we going Wildcat Wyke here on this 3rd down? Yeah, they're going to mark it at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, and you see Jansen heading off the field. A couple of players wandering in there. And I think it would be the smart move would be Wildcat Wyke. Or this is a Tyron Duval special.
Yeah, they're bringing the jumbo unit here. Big number 64 for the Huskers. Raiden Sanderson makes his way in. And it is Wyke under center. Huge 3rd down. Huskers. All the bodies in front. Wyke to the end zone. Touchdown, Huskers! 3rd touchdown for Wyke again.
It's like we just talked about, Warren. It was imperative that the Huskers did something on this drive. There's still a lot of time left on the clock. There's 2.5 minutes left on the clock, 2:51. But here we go. We get the snap directly to Wyke. His patience pays off. He follows the blockers, rolls down the line, finds the gap, and into the end zone. But it was imperative that the Huskers put points on the board on this drive, and they did.
So now a 2-score game as the kick is up, the kick is through. Mr. Saunders remains perfect on the year. And the Huskers looking to stay perfect at home. 4-0 against these surging Broncos with 2:51 remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Now the defense has got to play this smart here. They got to keep everything in front of them and take away the big plays. Let the clock tick down because they can give up a score on this drive, but they can't give up a quick score or big plays that don't eat up a lot of time on the clock. They want to eat up as much time as they can here.
There's the 3-minute warning. It's been a good one here. For a while, we thought it was looking like a bit of a blowout. Never felt like a blowout because the Broncos were moving the ball well. It was those turnovers that killed them. But in the second half, they avoided the turnovers, put it together, and Caleb Sens had a monster half. And the Broncos got so close, but now they'll have to climb a few more rungs to get back in this game.
Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, you take away those turnovers, it could be a blowout the other way for the Broncos, and that's why I think they've got a bright future. You got these young guys. I mean, I know Van Conen's aging out after this year, but you've got a young core of a team here that you clean up a few things, and they'll be doing very well.
Squibble kick is fielded by big number 40, George Unger of the Broncos, and that'll set up a first down to the 39-yard line of Kamloops. And Van Conant has been on fire in this second half. 2 extended drives, both finished with majors. The last one had a 2-point convert on top of that to Colton Meikle.
Well, like I said, this is now the point of the Huskers have to do here is keep everything in front of them. Don't give up big plays. Give them 5 yards. Eat up clock. Make them run small plays. Cover a little bit of space on the field and a lot of time on that clock.
Colton Meikle with the reception.
Football fans would like to take the opportunity to
Swallowed up quickly, though.
our sponsors that help make Valley Huskers.
We got this offense of the Broncos. They were fun to watch with Gregorchik as the running back last year. They're even more fun to watch with Van Conant under center and these receivers he can throw to. He'll pass that one and find Sens. It's the elusiveness of Sens. He gets it and he just scampers away ever so quickly. And then the big body of Meikle. A lot of fun if you're just a football fan to watch.
Yes. Oh, for sure. For sure. And I mean, I think we both appreciate good football. We cheer for our Huskers. We love our Huskers, but watching good football is why we come to the game, right? And this year has been good football. You know, you watched a good drive by the Huskers to start, and then you watched a great drive by the Broncos to start that ended in a turnover. So, I mean, they're both playing good ball. The Huskers are just finishing.
It's a game of mistakes, and unfortunately for the Broncos in this game, they've made a few more mistakes than the Huskers, and that's been reflected in the scoreline. 32-22. Huskers in front. Broncos have 2:30 remaining on the clock here in the fourth quarter. Trying to get a quick strike. They've got the weapons to do it. Huskers, though, has got some pretty good defensive backs. They'll try to shut them down, and you see Rolak's done a marvelous job on Findon of really limiting what he can do. And then the defensive line comes out to play with a sack, number 56, Tyson Holgan.
And this is Huskers football. You saw it last week when they caused the fumble for Moore to run into the end zone. And Holgan here making the big play here. They know what's on the line. And they know a turnover here pretty much seals the deal for them.
Second, and about 5. Van Conant wants more than that. He's got him open. He just overthrows number 19, Brock DeFore. Has been a big play man for the Broncos. Now bring up third down.
I don't know what happened there to start that play, but Rolak ended up way far down the field, so he had to run back to get in the play. Van Conant saw that and took advantage and threw to where Rolak was coming forward. Receiver ran past him. Rolak had to get turned around, couldn't get there, but they couldn't connect either.
So break for the Huskers, and Van Conant showing he's got quite the arm, stretching out this defense. Big third down for them. They need to get the first down to keep this drive alive. They've got to get 6 yards to do it.
15.
Oh, 15, pardon me. All hands on deck. 4 receivers to the right side. 2 to the near side. Van Conant scrambles more in hot pursuit. Van Conant overthrows the target, and that'll be a turnover on downs to the Huskers. James Moore has been unrelenting this afternoon.
Why? I don't think Van Conant's ever going to bet on the number 7 ever. That's going to be his least favorite number. Because you see number 7 chasing him here, and he has to get rid of that ball. Overthrow sends, no one behind him, and all he's doing is trying to escape James Moore.
We've been doing this for a while now. You think back 3-4 years ago, even the lean years, back when I first started out, even 6 years ago, maybe 50 people in the stands. The energy was so low. They were trying to find anybody that wanted to grab the mic to do the announcing. And now Ian Wilson doing a fantastic job bringing the energy. The crowd is into it. The team is good. It's a lot of fun to be a football fan here in Chilliwack. It's Duval now under center, hand off, and I think that's Locke who made his way up.
18.
Oh no, it's William Donahue.
Donahue's getting a couple of plays here. I think one of the best things that the Huskers have done has community engagement. Prior to the last couple of years, you knew the Huskers played in Chilliwack. You knew the Valley Huskers played in Chilliwack. And unless you were in football, you didn't know about it. They've done a really good job with community engagement, getting their names out, their connection with the Giants community football program, the high school football programs, kids getting free wearing jerseys. You know, they've really, really tried to bring up their community involvement, and that's paid dividends for them here.
You've got to make the investments if you want the return. There's a penalty against the Huskers.
Another one.
One thing I think that the Huskers, you want your team to play on the edge. You want them to be aggressive. You got to watch the penalties, especially in the playoffs, and that's what the Huskers need to be fine-tuning their game towards. That's something that Coach Reist and company will want to corral in. Use that aggression wisely, but don't be undisciplined.
Yeah.
So Duval, second and long. There's the give and a handoff close to the center stripe. This time they'll go to Saxon Kernahan.
Broncos shut them down on the run game.
So for a lot of these players, they've not played much this year. They've practiced their faces off. They've done special teams. Now they get a chance at least for a few plays to get out there with the first team, and you like to see that.
Yeah, and so now they're gonna punt it away here, and once again they don't want to give up the big plays. They got a 10-point lead here, and so they don't want to give up any big plays, a quick score. They don't want to deal with an onside kick. The Broncos want to slow things down a little bit here. They want to make sure they got the right people out there, and they're ready, because if they can get the ball here, get it up the field quickly, score quickly, and get an onside kick, they got a shot.
Huskers held them last time after they had a reception by Sens. They got the sack and then 2 missed pass connections. Huskers would like to see that happen again here, but first they'll have to give the ball back to the Broncos and limit what the very elusive number 88 can do on this return. And he's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Oh, Sens is just phenomenal. He's a lot of fun to watch out there. And he's, back there, he's ready to go. He's all wound up. He's already picking his path. He's Google mapping his route to the end zone right now. You got to really appreciate here is the compete level of these two teams. Huskers know they're in the playoffs, but they've come out and competed all day. Broncos know they're out, but they've come out and competed all day. And all game, down 24-0, and they come out and they just keep fighting.
There's a nice high soaring punt, and that'll fall and fielded at about the 25, sends nowhere to go, taken down. The receiver I was thinking about for the Huskers, little skirmish continues, it's Brandon Poulin. I can't believe I forgot Poulin. That's what we used to sing the old Def Leppard tune to his name.
And the funny thing is, I was thinking Brandon, but I couldn't remember the last name. And it's got such a unique last name. But he was just a spark plug.
And you didn't want to do the "Let's Go Brandon" chant because that means something entirely different.
Yeah, exactly. But he was a spark plug that really lit it up for the Huskers. A lot of fun to watch. And I think he was one of the ones that gave the Huskers hope that there was a future there.
He was the target for Van Conant the year he replaced Julian Wintink and came in. Tough act to follow was a reception by Duforce. Spins off the tackle. Still on his feet, chewing up a ton of yards, taken out of bounds at about the 45. These Broncos receivers are elusive, even the big ones.
Well, and here's, Dufour does a great job here of stepping around the two defenders. The defenders collapse on him. They're behind him. They collapse here, and he does this little spin move and gets them wrapped up together, and then he has to get around his own player before he can get going. But Curtis Flynn comes across the top and is able to tackle him and bring him down out.
Flynn has been an absolute monster for the Huskers defensively. Second in tackles with 29 coming into this game. Van Conant fakes, and once again, his shadow, number 7, James Moore, on the hunt, and he will underthrow that pass, looking for Dufour, who will get up gingerly.
Well, and number 4, Jaden Klassen, has always been well known as a run stuffer. He's a great defender against the run. He comes down, fills those holes really fast. But today he's showing us he can do it in coverage here. Because there you go. Van Conant does a little fake. He's running away from Moore. Throws the ball, and there comes Klassen. And he gets in there, smacks that ball into Dufour's hands, and able to bring the ball to the ground.
Both teams have done a nice job of defending some of those passes. That's probably about the 5th one that looked like the receiver was going to get it, and the hand sneaks in the last second, swats it away like Mr. Miyagi. And the Broncos now second down.
I think it's...
And it is Dufour that's still on his knees on the turf.
Yeah.
Or is that another one?
I thought it looks like it's 15, but that's a defensive back is 15.
Yeah,
it is Dufour, who's had a great game today. He's played really well. He's had some very big plays. You got to watch where he is all the time on the field because he can make things happen. You got Sens, who you're trying to stop, and he's wiry and he's sneaky and he's fast and he's hard to tackle. But then you got Dufour, who runs his route, and then burst, and he's gone for a huge play. And you forget about him for a while there, and you just kind of sleep on him, and the next thing you know, he's burning you.
Well, because you're focused on 88 Sens, you're focused on 17 Mikkel.
Yeah.
And then Dufour's like, hey, I'm over here too.
Oh, and 33 Poyo too. Yeah.
That's some good things. If you're a Broncos fan, you're tuned in on BCFC TV or watching on TELUS as the game of the week. Get out and support this team. They continue to trend in the right direction, and they need the community support. That's my old hometown in Kamloops, and you'd like to see that program continue to grow, much like it is here in Chilliwack, where you've talked about the investment they've done. And Josh Jansen in his second year has done such a good job with his offense, and Reese Wyke coming out the way he did and really bursting onto the scene, giving him a 1,000-yard rusher, has just helped this program flourish this year as they look to hopefully go to 7-3 in one of their best seasons ever.
Yeah. And one of the things that you look at what the Huskers done with the last couple of years with community involvement, getting their name out, getting their stuff out there. I think the Broncos have always done that very well. Their integration with community football with the schools up there, I think they've always done it very well. I think they're having one of those ebb and close because it wasn't too many years ago that the Broncos were in contention, but then those players aged out. And I think the development of the younger cores really needs to be a priority for some of these groups. And now we're making lots of noise here as Van Conant comes in. Minute 28 left in the fourth quarter.
Van Conant now pressure up front from the Huskers. He's going back. Further back. Couldn't throw it, pushed out of bounds. And that'll be a huge loss, but then a flag flies at the end. Are they going to call it roughing the passer?
No, because he just gave him a shove out of bounds. I mean, if he wanted to tackle him out of bounds, that'd be roughing the passer. There was just a little push. It's going to be a face mask on the Broncos, it looks like. That's the signal I saw from the backside here. And let's see what happens here. Holding. Oh, it's just a hold. Okay. Second down. So it's going to be 2nd and 20 for the Broncos.
We can see why the Broncos have done so many quick timing routes, because if you wait too long, that defensive line is hunting you like an endangered species.
Yeah.
And you are scrambling for your life.
Well, you like this. I mean, you never want to see him get hurt, but Darius Kelly got hurt there. We saw him helped off. And Coach Reese goes, ha, I got another one of those. His twin brother, Dion Kelly, goes in at end, and he's the one that just chases Van Conant out of bounds.
Van Conant now 2nd and a country mile. I'm going to have to throw to Agassi. Rolling out right again. Overthrew the target, and one of the coaches had it slip through his hands on the sidelines. And that'll bring up a 3rd down for Kamloops.
Well, it was funny, and I love watching this defensive battle because the far tackle, the right tackle, is playing mirror with Dion Kelly, and he's not letting Dion Kelly in, and Dion Kelly's trying to get around him, but he's just keeping mirrored on him. And so Van Conant follows that. Moore shed his blocker on the near side and ran him down, and when Van Conant saw him coming over his shoulder, he took off and threw the ball downfield. He thought he had more time than that, but Moore was coming in there like a heat-seeking missile.
Tell you what, Jonas Siciliano, Nathan Fournette, James Moore, those three have done a marvelous job all game long of getting after the quarterback. Moore's reaped the rewards in terms of the accolades because he's gotten the sack, he's gotten the closest. Those other two are doing the grunt work, the heavy lifting down low, helping Moore to be able to get into the backfield and put pressure on Van Conant.
100%. And you know, you got Moore on one side, you got one of the Kelly boys on the other side, whether it's Darius or Dion. But in the middle, you've got big Nathan Fournette. They've got to put 2 guys on. And there's only 3 guys in the middle, but then you've got Siciliano, you got to put 2 guys on. So it makes it really tough that the 3 guys in the middle, the running back who's blocking has to step up and help there because they're just going to get run over. Fournette's an absolute animal down the middle of the field, and when they double team him, Siciliano runs free. It's scary how good this D-line is.
Well, you look at Shane Claridge kind of barking out the signals, being a leader out there to the defensive backs as they will load up everybody to stop a Broncos first down. They've got a ways to go here. They've got to get to the 45-yard line to keep this drive alive, and the fans come alive. As the Broncos down by 10 with 1:06 to go. Van Conant, the lone man in the gun. Wave sends behind him. 5 receivers that side. And now they're going to go back the other way. Trick play. Throws it up. Batted down. It's caught! Mikkel through 2 defenders to the end zone. Touchdown, and the Broncos fans are delighted. Trick play by Sens, who's done it with his legs, he's done it with his hands, and now he does it with his arm.
That is just crazy. The throw here, which is great, Van Conant just drops it down to Sens. Sens is able to get up there, and he stands in the face of Fournette coming down on him. And then Mikkel goes up over 2 defenders and is able to pull that ball in and then outrun the other defenders to get to the end zone. That was a great play.
Rolak did a nice job. He got his hand in there trying to swat it away, but Mikkel so strong, able to corral that in, and what do you know? I think we have an onside kick coming up in just a moment.
And the most impressive thing about that was Sen standing in there to deliver that throw with Nathan Fournette, who we just talked about being this massive wall, this massive wave is rolling in on him, and he stands in there almost fearless. Like, watch this. There's a little pass down there, and there comes Fournette, and Fournette's like leaping through the air at him. I don't know. I probably would have broke down and cried. But no, he stands there and delivers the ball to Miko, who wrestles away from two people, stiff arms a third, and gets into the end zone.
Like, Sens just tossed that 40 yards with a defensive lineman in his grill. And then Miko, that was something else to watch. The Huskers now will want to defend this. They do not want another photo finish here at Exhibition Field. Well, you know what? If you left the game early, traffic is never that bad in Chilliwack, so I don't know why you would. But if you did, you've missed two very crazy finishes here at Exhibition Field the last two home games.
The Broncos don't have any choice but onside kick here. So everybody in that front line needs to be ready to get that onside kick.
You need your sure hands guys up top for the Huskers.
Yeah.
They can bat that away or secure it.
And really, they're going to try and get a bounce over the first row to the second row. So the second row's got to be ready. You see a lot of hands guys there.
And the ball has got to get up to the center stripe. That's where the Broncos need. Any shorter and it'll be waved off. And boy, Bob Reese trying to see if there's ice in the veins of the kicker for the Broncos, number 29.
No, they had one too many people out there.
Oh.
Yeah, and they caught it before anybody else did, so they called the timeout.
I was going to say, though, if your kicker's name is Freeze, he should have ice in his veins.
That's how it works, isn't it?
I think that's just the way it is. Because Moore's always bringing that extra.
Yeah.
So Freeze has got to have ice. I think that's how this name game works.
Yeah, Batman wants to talk to you after the game. Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. By the way, Arnold Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze, one of the best, worst villains maybe in superhero history.
Oh, you got to watch it.
The absolute worst one-liners that only he could deliver is Freeze now. Throws that up high and laundry on the field. And
that's exactly what they didn't want to do. Yeah.
And that was either a penalty call by the referee or a really good dance routine. I can't quite determine.
No.
Little Russian.
Yeah, it's going the other way. And the Huskers just got to kill the clock here.
So the Huskers, I think for the first time in their history, 5-0 at Exhibition Field. 7-3 on the season if they can hold on to this win. And they head into the playoffs having done their part.
Yeah.
Now they have to wait and see if the Raiders can exact some revenge for a terrible season for them. A proud franchise that fell on hard times this year at 1-8. Got absolutely dismantled by the Rebels last time they played. Started out well, but it went downhill after that. Duvall with the fake handoff, and then his gang tackled, taken down for a loss.
A little play action there, and I think he saw something because White turned around thinking that he was supposed to get the ball. Read option, not play action, read option. But it looked like Duvall saw something because White thought he was getting the ball, and Duvall pulls it back. Here we go, it goes into his belly here, and then he yanks it back at the last second. I don't think he saw number 92. I think he saw a hole there, but he did see number 92 able to step in and grab him around the waist quickly.
This really has been a historic season for the Huskers if you think about it. 5-0 at home.
Yep.
First time they've beaten the Langley Rams. They liked it so much the first time they decided to do it again and swept the series. It's never happened before.
And be sure to follow the BC football.
Take on an expansion team, not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Yeah.
They're involved in that expansion team's first ever win at home. A lot of firsts and a lot of fun this season, and the season's not over.
Yeah, they've had quite the season, that's for sure. And the second season's about to start.
All eyes will be on the Okanagan Sun to see if this perfect season continues to close things out against Prince George, and then it will not be easy against the Rams as White fumbles the football. But the Broncos recover.
Nope, Husker is on top. Husker is on top. Thank goodness. I think it was big number 59? 69.
Did the Broncos miss the extra point on the kick? Or did they go for a 2-pointer that didn't work? I'm trying to rack my brain and think back, because right now they're trailing by 4 instead of 3.
No, there's 3. It's 29.
Oh, you're right.
32.
I'm getting old. My math is terrible, as I've mentioned before on many broadcasts. My wife is the math teacher. I could not sub in for her class.
It's a sunny Sunday or Saturday afternoon watching football. Mathing sucks. We're not doing that.
The haze is getting to me, I think. I'll blame it on the haze. The Huskers looking to just run this clock down. 42 seconds, all that's remaining. Third down, though, and 3rd and 3.
Well, they need to get a first down here, and then they've killed this clock. And I think they're going to punt it away. That makes the most sense.
This game is not over for all intents and purposes. I had already said the eulogy and sang Amazing Grace, but we could have another play by the Broncos.
Oh, I thought Aiden Saunders was running off. He's just running over to talk to the coach. All right. Aiden Saunders is going to punt this and try and pin him deep in their end zone.
I don't know if this old heart of mine can take these finishes at the end.
Oh, I know, right?
Last week, you figure after a big win over one of the best teams in the conference, you'd be dancing the two-step, but that last-second touchdown put a damper on that, and now the Broncos, who were trailing significantly, missed the onside kick, but the Huskers don't get the first down. The Broncos stay alive with an absolute burner, waiting to return it back at his own 20.
Oh, no, we're Aiden Saunders, the magic boot.
And the Broncos, they're playing with house money. Win or lose, they're going to go for it. Saunders now, nice high kick. That one fielded by Sens. The flag does fly. They'll get maybe an extra 15.
No, that'll only be a 5-pointer. Yeah, that'll only be a 5. Because Sens was able to catch it. There was about 3 or 4 yards. It wasn't quite 5 yards. So you'll get an extra 5 yards out of that.
We could have quite the finish, though, with the receivers that the Broncos have and the arm that Van Conant has. They want to finish the season 5-5.
No yards against the Huskers. I bet you if we freeze framed it, that was like 4.75 yards away.
I can't hear you, Huskers fans. Make some noise. Blue defense.
I remember talking to a referee one time, and he was like, we tell the guys, especially the young guys, if you're not sure, throw the flag. You can always pick it up, but you can't throw the flag later. And I like that.
Van Conant now. Everybody's running. Throws that deep. And it's intercepted. Number 11, Travis Spencer. He got the cooler out and he put the ice on it.
I love this about this play right here. Travis Spencer, just let's put an end to this nonsense right now. The throws to
third
Mikko.
interception on the year for Travis Spencer.
The throws to Mikko down the sideline. Rolak's covering, and Spencer's like, no, we're done. I'm taking this ball, and I'm going home.
And even if you didn't see the numbers, Spencer, a little distinctive. He's got one of the old Huskers helmets, the lighter green. He's got that because he's special. Huskers now in victory formation, 13.6 seconds to go, and thankfully, they won't make my prophecy look ludicrous, as they will come away with the win. They will be undefeated at home, and they will head into the playoffs hoping for a Raiders win against the Rebels, and all eyes in the BCFC will be on that game tonight on the island And the Huskers celebrate. The Broncos should not hold their head because they clawed and scratched their way to the very end and put on a marvelous effort to close out this season.
Well, I think the future's bright for these Broncos. They really, really did play a very good game today, and they never gave up, and that's the one thing you love to see in a football game. They fought right to the bitter end, 32-29.
All right, so check out the BCFC website to find out the game time of the playoff game against the West Shore Rebels. So now they will wait. What a regular season for the Huskers. Bring on the postseason. For the crew here at For the Win Media, for our sponsor, the Zone Garage, Fraser Valley, and of course, this has been an excellent TELUS Game of the Week, also on BCFC TV. He's Matt Macri. I'm Warren Andrews. Thank you so much for tuning in wherever you are. We really hope to talk to you next week. Good night, everyone.
Huskers.